Thank you, Natalie. Good afternoon once again. Manchester City, Chelsea and Southampton are already at Wembley, and now both West Ham United and Leeds United can put their relegation worries to one side for an afternoon at least and try to join them at the National Stadium in the semi-finals of the Emirates FA Cup. Both teams have really enjoyed so many of their best moments this season at this stage in this competition. And when you look at the crowd here today, Dean Ashton, 9,000 Leeds fans have made the journey down. West Ham have sold out as well. This is a huge occasion for both clubs.
Oh, it is. Fully expected Leeds to do that. Magnificent support. But when West Ham got this draw at home, I hoped that certainly it would be full. I don't think there'll be any lack of atmosphere. It's now just down to the players. Can they deliver?
And of course, it is only a game, and the Leeds United supporters remember Kevin Spate and Christopher Loftus today. It is the 26th anniversary of their deaths. The night before Leeds played Galatasaray in Istanbul, and the Leeds players have headed towards the Leeds fans away to our right, and they have laid two wreaths behind that goal, and all of the Leeds side applaud their fans, and they return in unison, and thousands of West Ham United supporters have also joined in as well. The names and pictures of Kevin Spate and Christopher Loftus were on the big screens here before kick-off, and the Leeds fans will be turning their backs in the 26th minute of this game today, as they did during that night in Istanbul when Leeds lost to Galatasaray in the semi-finals of the UEFA Cup. And 26 years on, the pain for the families and those Leeds United supporters continues. The Leeds team are now ready for the game, wearing all blue today. West Ham in their claret shirts, white shorts and white socks. Both managers have rotated, but not to the extent we've seen previously in the FA Cup this season. 5 changes for West Ham. Hermansen, Wan-Bissaka and Mavropanos drop out of the squad. Pablo and Souček are on the bench. The players who come in: Areola, Kilman, Walker-Peters, Magassa and Traore. It's Areola in goal, Walker-Peters, Kilman, Disasi and Diouf the back four. Potts and Magassa, a very young partnership in midfield. Traore, Fernandez and Bowen behind Castellanos in attack. Leeds have brought Lucas Perry in goal for Carl Darlow. Ayo Tanaka and Noah Okafor also come in for Brendan Aronson and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who is fit enough for the bench. It is Perry in goal, Straub, Biol and Roden the back three, Bogle, Stach, Ampadu and Justin across the middle, with Tanaka, Okafor and Metscher in attack. A fantastic atmosphere inside the London Stadium. Both sets of supporters really up for the FA Cup here today. One of these sides will be planning for a semi-final at Wembley by the end of today, and it's West Ham United who get the match underway here on TalkSport, the only place you've been able to hear all 4 FA Cup quarter-finals this season. And it's West Ham attacking the goal away to our right in the first half. It's lofted high downfield by Magassa, and it's into the arms of Lucas Perry, wearing all orange, defending the Leeds United goal away to our right-hand side. And it's great, Dean, to have so many away fans in the stadium once again for an FA Cup tie. It really makes the occasion as Tanaka looks to swing it wide towards Okafor with the help of a deflection, and it's hammered away by Walker-Peters for a throw into Leeds on this near side.
Yeah, rightly so. Allowed that extra allocation for the away support. We'll really add to that with the yellow, blue and white of the Leeds support out over to our right. A long throw for Ampadu to launch into the West Ham penalty area.
Ethan Ampadu, the captain, will deliver this high in towards that near post. Areola stays on his line. It's not being cleared conclusively. Okafor will try and recover on the edge of the penalty area, and he's won it back and he calls it in, and it's a brilliant save by Areola to turn the ball aside for a corner.
Magnificent from Areola, so important. Don't want to concede that early goal. It just bounces around the edge of the penalty area after that long throw. It's Okafor that's onto it quickly, just shoves Castellanos aside, opens his body up, fires it to that far corner. Areola, brilliant, because he can't see it till late. It's around the back of Disasi, gets down low to his left, fingertips round the post, brilliant.
Areola has been on the bench for the last 7 games in the Premier League, back in the team today, and the corner kick again in towards that near post, causing momentary chaos and pinball before it's gathered by the West Ham United goalkeeper, who bowls it out towards his left-hand side and Kilman. But West Ham rather over-elaborate there on the far side. The ball into the path of Potts was misplaced, and Leeds have possession back once again with 2 minutes played here on Talk Sport, and it's West Ham 0, Leeds 0.
And it's pretty obvious just to look out there and see the height difference between the two sides. Leeds will really feel as if they've got the advantage from set plays.
Metcha lays it back in field, and Leeds will try and come forward again with Okafor, but now West Ham will recover. But the ball forward on this near side, looking for the run of Castellanos, is quickly cut out by Justin, and West Ham will have a throw-in once again. And Adama Traore was being tightly marked there as Areola almost ran the ball into his own net there. He gathered the ball back to him from Disasi, turned away from the challenge inside the 6-yard area, and he was very fortunate to scramble that ball away before Okafor forced him and the ball into the back of the net.
Yeah, he's quick, isn't he, Okafor? Put him under severe pressure there, Areola. He was lucky it wasn't a heavier touch that he took initially, or else it would have gone into his own net.
Ampadu with another long throw, slung in towards the near post area. Kilman rising to clear, a missed kick from Statch on the edge of the area. West Ham will scramble it away again, but Leeds dominating the early stages of this game here at the London Stadium. And the sun has momentarily left us. It's a bright, brisk Easter Sunday afternoon, and we also welcome listeners from Sirius XM FC joining us across the United States and Canada today. Hope you're enjoying your Easter Sunday as well, as West Ham in the claret shirts try to bring it forward on this near side there right, but Kilman will go all the way back towards Areola once again. He now goes long looking for Castellanos, but he was the only real target, and it's gathered by Strouk infield again towards Beale, and Leeds have really settled much quicker here.
They certainly have. Obviously a more naturally first 11 for Leeds, that's for sure. West Ham with a few changes, big players missing as well. And just an interesting positional thought, which is Jarrod Bowen playing on the right. Jarrod Bowen playing on the left and Adama Traore on the right. Someone will have to explain that to me, why that would be the case when he's been one of the best right-hand sided forwards in the league for 3 seasons.
Maybe it's because Traore can't play on the left.
Why not? Well, you certainly don't take your best player out of his best position to fit somebody else in.
Tanaka, who's playing at the base of the Leeds midfield, plays it long downfield, but it's quickly regathered and then played forward by Disasi, but the ball rebounding back to him under pressure from Lucas Metcha. But West Ham will now try and come forward on the far side with Diouf, and Diouf again will try and make the burst towards the corner flag, but the run towards goal was quickly cut out by Roden, and it will be a throw-in to West Ham, level with the edge of the Leeds penalty area on the far side, the West Ham left. 5 minutes played, 0-0 here in front of a sellout crowd at the London Stadium. Now Bowen with a burst into the penalty area, down the left, low ball, and it's a brilliant save by Perry to prevent an own goal at the near post, and now an opportunity for Walker-Peters to cut into the penalty area. His low cross in is scrambled away. It was Bowen who fired it in, and it took a deflection at the near post, possibly off Strouk, and it was a fantastic reaction save.
Well, I think it's Castellanos is the one that's shaking his head. I think he does get the touch and he can't believe that the goalkeeper saved it. He was so close to it. It was fired across by Bowen. The pace was on the ball. Got a touch towards it. He thinks he scored. Somehow Perry gets down brilliantly to keep it out.
Now Traore gathers on the right-hand side. Infield again towards Magassa. And he's got time to control and play it wide to Diouf. The angle ball into the area, flicked on, almost into the path of Traore. Justin will clear. Now Magassa encouraged to shoot by the West Ham supporters, but it's wide towards Diouf again. He will take on Bogle. The cross into the near post is deflected off Bogle, behind for the game's first corner to West Ham.
Yeah, just going back to that save, Castellanos with the touch. It is so good. The instincts of Perry to just flick out a left arm and the strength in the wrist to keep it out down to his left. Absolutely brilliant goalkeeping.
Matheus Fernandes will take the corner kick on the far side for West Ham. 7 minutes played. Both goalkeepers have made fine saves so far, but no goals here on Talk Sport. Fernandes with the in-swinger, high into the area. Kilman challenging for it, but it's nodded clear by Stach, and he now has the opportunity to hammer the ball away, but the flag's up for offside. Craig Pawson is our referee here today, assisted by Lee Betts and Matthew Wilkes. Peter Banks, the fourth official, and Konstantin Hatsiakis is in charge of VAR, and it will be a free kick for Leeds.
Both teams showing good intent already in the game. One apiece for the goalkeepers in terms of magnificent saves, the pair of them, to keep it at 0-0. But the players feeding off this atmosphere, this FA Cup atmosphere so far.
The Women's FA Cup quarter-final between Charlton and Liverpool has gone to extra time, 0-0 there. And the shock earlier on with Arsenal losing 2-0 at home to Brighton. And they're also underway in the Scottish Premiership. No goals at Dens Park between Dundee and Celtic. Hearts are back on top of the table. They drew 2-2 at Livingston. They're a point clear of Rangers, who beat Dundee United yesterday, as West Ham look to try and break again, but Leeds United have a free kick just inside their own half, and Ampadu, the captain, will take it back towards Struijk. And it's interesting that Daniel Farke has retained his defensive unit and the base of their midfield here today, as Justin comes forward now, and it's wide towards Okafor on the left, back towards Tanaka, and now Struijk, and there's time for Biol to potentially bring it forward. Every single West Ham player is back deep inside their own half defending at the moment. Patches of blue sky overhead on a very mild Easter Sunday afternoon, as it's brought forward now by Tanaka again, wide towards Okafor with the opportunity to attack Walker-Peters. He's gone beyond him, crossed high to the far post, nobody there though in a blue shirt, and Bowen is back to step in before Roden by the corner flag, and he will clear the ball away, but only as far as Tanaka had time to size up the cross, but comes in field towards Biol. And now Tanaka again, and Leeds have a potential overload down the right hand side, but they don't really move the ball quickly enough. Here is Tanaka, and it's all the way back towards Biol, and now Struijk. And you used the word safe to describe Leeds during the build-up, and maybe we've seen evidence of that here.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've got those players in midfield with the three centre-backs as well. They all like to pop it around to each other. They're very, very patient to make sure that it's the right pass to play forwards. Brilliant from Okafor though, wasn't it, showing his pace past Walker-Peters. He just crossed it into the one area where there wasn't a Leeds player.
Now Okafor, good ball into the area, looking for Justin, who just slips as he tries to cross, and he was challenged by Magassa, and eventually it's hammered away by Disasi up towards the halfway line. It's recovered by Ampadu, but a rather strange ball from him, high and deep back into his own half, and Castellanos was able to challenge Biol, and now West Ham have it back, but the challenge on Okafor by Fernandes leads to a free kick for Leeds, 10 yards inside their own half. 10.5 minutes played here on Talk Sport. The final FA Cup quarter-final, and it's West Ham 0, Leeds 0, and here are the early thoughts of Dean Ashton.
Leeds setting up the way they have done since changing after that Manchester City game. They are hard to break down. We've got a really good defensive unit. The back three and the two full-backs can tuck in and get forwards at equal measures, and then two kind of sitting in Ampadu and Tanaka, asking a lot of the forward players to do it all on their own, really. But it's why they've been hard to beat Leeds in recent months.
Leeds won the corresponding Premier League game at Ellen Road 2-1 in October, and of course the return is coming up on the final day of the season. In their last visit here, Sam Allardyce was briefly the Leeds manager. They lost 3-1 in the penultimate game of the 2022-23 season, and that was the day that Declan Rice scored his final goal for West Ham. As Leeds try and move it forward again with Biol. West Ham's three previous ties this season have all gone to extra time against Queen's Park Rangers, Burton and Brentford. Leeds with a succession of ties against championship teams. Won 3-1 at Derby, came through a shootout against Birmingham, and then 3-0 against Norwich City, Daniel Farke's old club. A high ball into the West Ham penalty area is cleared. Here is Traore, and he strides away from the challenge of Statch, and now Ampadu as well, and he's got support from Bowen into the penalty area, left hand side. Bowen's low shot is parried by Perry, and it's swept away by Justin. But another opportunity there for West Ham, and another fine save from Lucas Perry. But here is Bowen again, driven in low towards Castellanos, who tries to manufacture the overhead kick, and I think he'll be penalised for a high boot, and it's a free kick to Leeds.
Brilliant from Traore. That's what everyone wants to see from him. He's got that ability, he's got the pace, brilliant dribbling from him, gets away from Struijk, who's just left in a cloud of dust as he goes past Ampadu as well. Lovely layoff to Bowen, he was always going to strike. First time with that left foot, he did brilliantly. It's a really strong hand from Perry to keep it out, but why wasn't anyone following up? Why wasn't Castellanos and Adama Traore gambling that that's what would happen? But a great break.
13 minutes played, 0-0. Of course, it's a long time since either club has played in an FA Cup semi-final. 20 years for West Ham, as we were saying earlier, when Dean scored both of the goals in the win against Manchester City at the Etihad in the quarter-finals. And you have to go all the way back to 1987 for the last time Leeds reached the semi-finals. In the last 8, they beat Wigan Athletic at Springfield Park 2-0. John Stiles, son of Nobby, and Mickey Adams scored the goals. And Leeds have another free kick here, close to the halfway line. Justin takes it. The ball was rolling, but not seen by the officials. Now Tanaka finding Mecha. The low ball swept into the penalty area. It's cleared away and then hooked clear by Fernandez, and Bowen is able to bring it down. Quickly jab forward towards Traore, on towards Castellanos, but the ball was overhit, and it's recovered by Biol, and he guides it back to Perry.
Yeah, didn't need to give that ball to Castellanos. Did Traore. He should have just done that himself. He works incredibly hard, but he's not particularly quick, Tati Castellanos. So Traore should have taken that on himself, but you can see the threat they will have on the break with those three, Traore, Bowen and Castellanos, if they can just pierce through that Leeds midfield.
And as we were talking about before kick-off, there's no Crescencio Somerville in the West Ham team, the former Leeds player, and he remains a big miss as Castellanos again working hard, closes down Biol and wins it back from him briefly, and Biol has to slide in and concede a throw-in for West Ham a couple of yards from the corner flag on the far side, the Leeds right. 15 minutes played here on TalkSport, and it remains 0-0. Well, West Ham have had 2 really good chances so far. Leeds with the first one of the game. Dazassi, Walker-Peters providing the width down the right-hand side. And now Magassa, another young player who's been given an opportunity today. high in towards Castellanos, who looked to be offside. He was offside, although he chests the ball down, spins and puts it high over the top.
But he's looking sharp. Started the game well. It's important that they have him as that focal point at the top end of the pitch. Neither of these two teams particularly have a lot of possession in the Premier League, so you can see why both teams have taken their turns to kind of sit in and defend and let the opposition have a bit of the ball.
16 minutes played, 0-0. Massive day in the EFL coming up tomorrow, and you can follow it all on the home of the EFL, TalkSport and TalkSport 2. We begin at Fratton Park, the big relegation battle at 12:30. Pompey against Oxford with Adrian Durham, Joe Shannon and Alvin Martin. Adrian will have game day live with all the goals as they go in from up and down the country. On TalkSport 2 at 3, it is Ipswich against Birmingham. Natalie will be joined by Adam Bridge and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk for that, followed by Swansea against Middlesbrough at 5:30 with Ian Danta and Chris Awelamo. And we'll finish on 8 o'clock on TalkSport with Hugh Woosencroft, John Dunn and Mickey Gray, with Hull against Coventry. Coventry closing in on automatic promotion following that victory against Derby on Friday night, live on TalkSport. Another move for Leeds breaks down on the edge of the West Ham penalty area. And then on Tuesday, a choice of listening, two huge games. Sporting Lisbon against Arsenal from the Champions League here on TalkSport. Wrexham against Southampton on TalkSport 2 as Bogle on the edge of the West Ham penalty area, briefly dispossessed, but now Leeds have it back again, and Bogle can lay it back to Roden. But again, Leeds don't have too many bodies inside the penalty area. James Justin, the fullback or wing-back, was the furthest player forward, so they go all the way back to Beale on the halfway line.
Yeah, they will use both of the wing-backs to suddenly dart into the middle area when it's on the opposite side.
Castellanos offside again there as the ball was played forward to him, but Leeds persisting with this high line, and with a better time run there is plenty of green grass in behind for West Ham.
Yeah, you can just see they want to make use of that, don't they? As Leeds have possession, when they turn it over, can they quickly beat that offside trap?
Bogle down the right hand side, and now Tanaka midway inside the West Ham half, forward towards Metcher, who tries to go beyond the challenge of Kilman, but Kilman was holding on there, and it will be a free kick for Leeds in the central area, about 35 yards out.
Yeah, he just tried to get too tight there to Metcher. Really clever, great first touch to just swivel away from Kilman, who had hold of his shoulders, and we've seen what Statch can do from this sort of range. Aston Villa fans will tell you that with his effort at Villa Park.
And that was the last league goal that Leeds scored, and he's over the ball here. Anton Statch, the German international, and he's lining up to hit this, and Statch does hit it right-footed but low into the wall, and it's brought clear, but the foul on Fernandez as he tried to break, and it will be a free kick for West Ham midway inside their own half. Nearly 20 minutes played here on TalkSport at the London Stadium in the FA Cup quarter-finals, and it's West Ham 0, Leeds 0. Of course, we must have a winner here today. It's given away by Magasser, and Leeds can come forward now with Okafor down the left-hand side. He's got support from Statch, the high cross into the penalty area, but it was defended at the far post by Diouf with a very calm cushioned header, which was just about kept in play by Areola. He now bowls up to the halfway line. Castellanos gathers, challenged though by Beale. Castellanos goes down, doesn't get the free kick, and Leeds have possession once again.
Yeah, but he has been the threat so far for Leeds. Okafor, we're pleased to have him back from injury. He's just the extra bit of quality. Real athlete. Obviously has come from AC Milan. I think he could be a game changer for them though.
Now Justin in the central area, clips it wide to the left hand side, and there is space for Okafor to attack the West Ham penalty area. The cross in is deep once again. Bogle challenging at the far post, manages to bring the ball down. He was looking for width, I think, but of course he was the width So in the end, he has to have a shot, and it's closed down.
He was, you're right. He did turn around to see someone overlapping. There wasn't anyone there. One of the field players really should have taken that on themselves to try and overlap as Rodon takes a kick to the face. But Leeds have definitely had more of the possession and have looked more in control of the game. But West Ham have got that threat on the break.
There's Castellanos with another high boot here into the face of Rodon, and it's a free kick for Leeds, wide on the right hand side, about 15 yards inside the West Ham half. And once again, West Ham have everybody back defending this, and Lucas Perry is the only player inside the Leeds half. Stach will deliver this, whipped in high towards Ampadu. In the end, the West Ham will clear, but Tanaka will gather in a central area, 35 yards out. Looks for Okafor down the left-hand side. Okafor checking back in field, back towards Tanaka again. Now it's a high angle ball in, and Bogle's got time to bring this ball down on his chest because Duke slipped. And now Bogle delivers the cross into the area, blocked by Bowen. Appeals for handball from the Leeds fans, who are about 120 yards away. But here is Strauch down the line, left-hand side. Okafor, though, has got Walker-Peters for company, but Tanaka will try and bring the ball forward again and find Okafor. Walker-Peters may need some help here. Okafor's gone beyond him, drives it into the near post, off Walker-Peters, behind for a Leeds corner.
Yeah, he's got the beating of him every time, Okafor. He's just too strong and quick, and he's got that brilliant dribbling ability, couple of step overs, check and then sprint and stop. Very, very difficult to defend against. Walker-Peters trying his best, but Okafor getting the better of him at the moment.
And Noah Okafor was left out of the Switzerland squad during the international break, but did make his Leeds comeback just before it. The corner swung into the penalty area by Stach, fisted away by Areola. A Leeds player is down inside the 6-yard area, but it's West Ham who had the free kick for the challenge on Freddie Potts.
Yeah, goalkeeper coming out, having to clatter into everybody to get that punch away. And it was Strauch and Potts, you say, that took a clattering.
And you're listening to FA Cup Game Day on TalkSport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus. Fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability. Prices may vary. 23 minutes played here at the London Stadium. Bright and breezy day, and a bright and breezy start to this game, but it's rather entered a more attritional phase at the moment. 0-0. Of course, the prize is a Wembley semi-final over the final weekend in April, and the draw for the semi-finals will take place just after this game. Manchester City, Chelsea and Southampton are the three teams already through. Now Tanaka forward towards Metcher, back towards Tanaka, and Okafor again has got some space down the left, and he's played in Justin now. Justin with a low ball right through the 6-yard area, but again there was no blue shirt forward there. Stach was the furthest player forward, and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
It's not a bad idea. It's good play by Leeds. Tanaka into Okafor, feeding it out to Justin, and I think he puts in a ball that says that's where my centre forward should probably be making a move. Probably too far away from anybody, but still, I think that's the area that he was looking for, just behind the West Ham defence. Not really the movement or the amount of bodies that were required there.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the bench today. Of course, he was a doubt, having left the England squad midway through the international break, but fit enough to be part of the matchday squad. As Tanaka again plays it forward to Metcher. Strong challenge coming through his back from Kilman, but no free kick given as the sunlight dapples the far side of the stadium once again, as Justin brings it forward now down the Leeds left-hand side. He's got Okafor on the overlap. Low ball slid into the penalty area. Tanaka was there having his shirt pulled, but a lovely turn from him, and he scored brilliantly. Ayo Tanaka with the opening goal for Leeds. He out-muscled the challenge inside the penalty area and somehow squeezed a shot over the head of Alphonse Areola, and Leeds United have the sight of their first FA Cup semi-final since 1987. 25 minutes played. West Ham United 0, Leeds United 1.
It's another brilliant sweeping move from Leeds United. Tanaka at the absolute heart of it as well. First off in midfield, brilliant awareness of his position and the opposition, takes it on the back foot, fizzes it out to Justin. He then waits for the overlap of Okafor, who's been the most dangerous player. All of a sudden Tanaka pops up in the penalty area. Okafor finds him, and then it's all Tanaka after that. Lovely little swivel like he's going to hit it with his right foot, and he doesn't. Away, and then smashes it low into the legs of Disasi. Then he gets a bit of luck. Clips up and over Areola, kisses the underside of the bar and down. Bit of luck, but still, what a brilliant move from Leeds.
Well, he scores his goals on the big occasion. Tanaka. Premier League goals against both Liverpool and Chelsea. Also got one against Derby in the third round, and a player who's not started in the Premier League since December has put Leeds one up here in the FA Cup quarter-final at the London Stadium. And they're the team which overall have shown more enterprise so far, and West Ham need to respond here. Juve on the far side, under pressure from Bogle, will shepherd the ball out of play, and 9,000 Leeds fans away to our right hand side making a right old din at the moment. You've got to be well into middle age to remember the last time Leeds played in an FA Cup semi-final. And on the tube on the way here today, you could see Leeds fans of all ages really looking forward to this game, and their team have the opening goal.
Well, there was a slight delay on some of the celebrations. Leeds supporters paying their respects to those supporters who turned their backs on the pitch but saw the goal from Tanaka on the massive screen just up above them. You can hear them now though.
Yeah, Tanaka scoring in the 26th minute, and of course that was the time that the Leeds fans were turning their back to recognise the anniversary of the deaths of Kevin Spate and Christopher Loftus in Istanbul. But Leeds leading here by a 1-0. Celtic are also a goal up at Dundee in the Scottish Premiership. Yang Hun Jung has scored the opening goal there. Hearts drawing 2-2 at Livingston earlier on. It was snowing there before that game, and that means they're a point clear of Rangers. Bright sunshine here on this Easter Sunday afternoon in East London as Leeds look to clear. Roden though was closed down by Bowen. The ball stays in play on the far side. Roden opting not to play it back towards Perry, swivels and plays it down the line, and it will be a West Ham throw-in.
Well, it was a couple of moves they'd had, Leeds, where they found that space on the left hand side. West Ham hadn't addressed it and were really punished by Tanaka's late run into the penalty area. Okafor once again, the outlet on the left hand side.
Well, Leeds have lost their last 7 FA Cup ties against Premier League teams since a 2-1 victory against Tottenham in the 4th round back in 2013 when Ross McCormack scored the winning goal. Sam Byram, who was on the bench for them today, he played that day in his first spell at Leeds. There's a high ball into the Leeds penalty area, headed away by Biol, and then Justin will clatter the ball into Magassa on this near side, and it will be a throw-in for Leeds. And James Justin, another player who has some unfinished business with the FA Cup. He was in the Leicester team, or the Leicester squad, that reached the final and won it 5 years ago, but he was injured in the build-up to the final and didn't play. Justin now hurls it long down the line, and Magassa going all the way back towards Areola, who was really caught out by that big deflection. The shot from Tanaka, and Disasi deflecting the ball up and over his own goalkeeper with the help of the crossbar. Now Tanaka again. Back towards Roden, and Leeds are in control here.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes you deserve your bit of luck. You know, the movement was fantastic. He's busted a gut to get into the penalty area. Tanaka shifted the ball and moved his feet really well to open up the chance to shoot. So often we get frustrated that players don't take the chance to shoot when in good areas. He did, and get you a bit of luck with the deflection, of course, perfectly over Areola's right hand onto the underside of the crossbar. Now West Ham have got to try and respond to Leeds' pretty dominance with the ball in particular. They've been very good in possession, Leeds.
In the Women's FA Cup quarter-finals, Liverpool lead at Charlton late in extra time. 18-year-old Zyra Shaw with the opening goal at the Valley. So it looks like Liverpool will be joining Brighton in the semi-finals. Spurs against Chelsea and Birmingham against Manchester City, the two quarter-finals in the Women's FA Cup coming up tomorrow, as Bowen tries to win a corner kick off Bogle on the far side, but the ball, I think, actually hits the corner flag, and it will be a throw-in instead. Short in towards Bowen on the right-hand side of the Leeds penalty area. Now Bowen again, coming in field. Back towards Potts, and here is Walker-Peters again, and Potts will swing the ball into the area just beyond Castellanos, who had made the run into the area with Fernandez. But it's recovered by Juve. Castellanos again on the far side gave Juve a difficult ball to control by the corner flag, and as a result Leeds win it back, and they will try and break now with Okafor over the halfway line. A West Ham mistake, and Okafor is breaking forward here. He's got support from Stach, and Stach makes it 2-0. No, he doesn't. It's a brilliant save by Areola. Stach has also picked up an injury, and Alphonse Areola kept West Ham in the FA Cup there.
Oh, it's a vital save, it really is. Great break from Leeds. Okafor it was that was away. He just looked to his left and his right, picked out Stach on his right perfectly, got the strike away. Areola, brilliant with his right hand side, Stach with the power, saved it with his forearm. Stach got absolutely clattered by Kilman on his way through, maybe twisted his ankle in the
they're checking this for a penalty.
Well, for years and years defenders have had that opportunity to try and block. There's part of me that thinks a defender has to have that right to lunge for a block. Surely, Stach is about to shoot at his goalkeeper. He's got to be allowed to stretch and dive to try and block that shot from Stach. Yes, he's then caught him, and he's clearly picked up a nasty ankle injury because of it, but I don't know whether you can give penalties when a defender's got to go for that lunge.
Well, there's been no clarification for the crowd inside the stadium. We're watching a replay here, and Stach was certainly caught by Kilman. As you say, it was the momentum of the challenge, and Stach has really taken a heavy fall. Konstantin Hatsiakis is the VAR official here,
and ultimately he gets a clean strike away. Nothing about the challenge stops him getting the clean strike away. It's just that you have to follow through as that forward.
But if that was outside the penalty area and you make a challenge and you catch someone after passing the ball forward, is that a foul?
Yes, it is, but I think there's a different context to, as a striker, going through, you've got the chance to shoot, you get your shot away, and then you get clattered. It happens because the defender's got to have the right for that last-ditch lunging challenge to block.
Well, it looked like it was heading into the back of the net before Areola just got something on that.
Yeah, it was a great save, wasn't it? With his right forearm.
Well, Craig Pawson is still checking on the health of Anton Stach here, and he will hobble off for now. Tanaka is shaping up to take the corner kick here, so it seems the VAR check may have come and gone.
Not that anyone would know.
Well, not inside the stadium if you're not watching a TV screen, no. Well, Tanaka will take the corner kick. 35 minutes played. Leeds a goal up here and good value for it. Tanaka's delivery high towards the edge of the 6-yard area. And it's cleared away wide to the far side. And it will be a throw-in for Leeds, which Jayden Bogle will take, and Stach is still trying to walk off that injury on the far side, and the Leeds medical team of course will give him every opportunity, but I just wonder if there's movement on the Leeds bench as well.
Yeah, it does look like it.
It's like Aronson coming on.
Just think he twisted his ankle, didn't he, with the force of Kilman's challenge.
Well, Brendan Aronson preparing to come on as Okafor challenged there, and it was Metcher who just looped a header over the top. Again, West Ham did not defend with a good deal of conviction there at the near post.
Now they've struggled a little bit from those set plays and long throws because of that height advantage that Leeds have.
But West Ham need to rebuild in this game here. Here is Walker-Peters. And there was a brief review of that Kilman challenge on Statch, and VAR decided it was inevitable contact and decided not to intervene, which is basically what you were saying.
Yeah, I think that is the right thing.
Walker-Peters now for West Ham. High cross to the far post beyond Castellanos. It's recovered by Diouf. Pull back to Magassa, encouraged to shoot by the crowd. And now Kilman with a deep ball in, and Traore tries to keep the move alive at the far post, lunge at him, but sends it high into those Leeds fans behind that goal.
Yeah, a little disappointing from West Ham's perspective there. Walker-Peters in a good position, no real pressure on him for the first cross. Overhits it to Diouf, comes back, recycled to Kilman, who flicked in a decent ball. Difficult for Traore as he was jumping at the ball to try and hook that back across.
And here comes the change for Leeds. Brendan Aronson, the USA international, will be coming on. And he replaces Anton Statch. So there may be a slight switch around here for Leeds as well in terms of the formation. Aronson will try and get close to Metcher. And Liverpool have won at Charlton 1-0 in the quarter-finals of the Women's FA Cup. So Charlton will need to resume concentration on their attempts to win promotion to the Women's Super League next season. Okafor for Leeds on this near side here. 38 minutes played. Leeds a goal up thanks to Ayo Tanaka. And pretty much in control of this game at the moment, as Perry clears it long downfield again, looking for Justin, headed away though by Walker-Peters. And now Magassa finding Kilman. And Kilman forward towards Bowen, and West Ham have not really got Bowen in the game enough, but there may be an opportunity here as Potts drives forward down the left, and he will eventually have Bowen in support. It's pulled back to Bowen on the edge of the penalty area. Left foot shot from him, low into the crowd. May have actually hit Castellanos. And then a late challenge by Metcher as the ball swung into the penalty area. Fernandez had a half-hit shot towards goal. That was saved by Perry, but the West Ham fans around us not happy that the earlier challenge from Metcher wasn't penalised.
Penalised should have been. Yellow card should have been. It was a real lunge from Metcher on Disasi, who just played it away and got clattered by Metcher. Had to be a foul and a yellow card. I think the referee, to be fair, wanted to allow the play to continue for West Ham to have that.
The yellow card is now out.
Yeah, I think it's the right decision. It was an obvious lunge. Don't know whether he saw that, Craig Pawson, or whether he's been given a little bit of help by his assistants there, but ball in from West Ham, offside from the half chance. I'm just going back to you said about Bowen. I mean, that was a poor strike really from his standards. I just think he's been a reasonable threat from that left hand side because he's a good player, but you're basically taking away his biggest asset, which is coming in on his left foot from the right and scoring goals from that position.
Well, I wonder if at some stage we will see Pablo come off the bench and Bowen go into his more usual position. We'll have to wait and see. Now Justin for Leeds on this near side, under pressure, plays it back to Statch, and Statch was closed down by Magassa, and that's something to encourage the West Ham fans as it rebounds out of play for a Leeds throw-in. We had that early flurry from West Ham, the opportunities for Castellanos and Bowen, both well saved by Perry, but really since the goal, and for quite a bit of time before that, they've been second best in this game. 4 minutes to play in the first half here on TalkSport. West Ham 0, Leeds 1. The final word with Majestic and Alan Pardew coming up at the end of this game, along with the semi-final draw. And TalkSport's Ali McCoist will be drawing the balls. Well, it's not the velvet bag anymore, it's a sort of Perspex bucket, isn't it? 3 minutes to play in the first half. Leeds have won a throw-in on this near side, which Justin will take. And Leeds, on their performance so far, would not be flattered by a second goal. Okafor holding off the challenge of Potts, back towards the goal scorer Tanaka, and in the end Potts will just deflect it out of play for a throw-in. But not for the first time in recent history. A big crowd has turned up here today, and West Ham have not performed so far. Metcher beaten to it by Disasi on the edge of the penalty area. Bowen has now given the ball away to Bogle, and Bogle played it forward looking for Aronson, but it was behind him and overhit. It's behind for a goal kick, and that's a let-off for West Ham.
Yeah, it was loose from Bowen, wasn't it? Bogle was onto it sharply, tried to punch that into Aronson, who was in the area, just bobbled up, and he shinned it up and over Aronson's head and out for a goal kick. They've been very good at that, Leeds, pouncing on any loose passes that West Ham have had just to keep the pressure on. And then Okafor's been the standout player for me so far. Made it look really easy whenever he's been involved, getting past his man, linking the play. Great setup for Tanaka's goal too.
Leeds with 2 away wins against Championship sides in the FA Cup so far this season. Only 1 win in 15 on the road in the Premier League. That was against Wolves back in September, but they've drawn 6 in a row. They become a very hard nut to crack away from home, but of course they're not necessarily winning games. Diouf with the ball in towards Castellanos at the near post, and he manages to turn and get the shot away, and it wasn't too far over the top. Lovely centre forward play. Ball in from Diouf. Beautiful touch from Castellanos, just to cushion it, swivel, tried the half volley with the left foot, just kind of scooped it up and over rather than powering it low and zipping it off the surface. But the first part was delicious from Castellanos. West Ham, of course, 1 point adrift of safety. Leeds are 4 points clear of the bottom 3 at the moment, but they've still got Wolves at home and Spurs and West Ham, of course, away on the final day. And West Ham have got Wolves here live on TalkSport on Friday. Another loose ball forward from Castellanos. Tanaka looking for Metcher, but he can't flick it wide to Okafor. And Traore comes in field. He's challenged, but West Ham maintain possession. Here is Fernandez, but he meanders down the right, but he meanders into the challenge of Justin, and it will be a throw-in for West Ham United on this near side. And we are seconds away from finding out how much added time there will be at the end of what has been 45 minutes in which Leeds United have been by far the better side, but they still only lead 1-0. But here is Diouf coming forward now for West Ham, and it's the right sort of ball from him, right through the 6-yard area, and there was no claret shirt anywhere near it.
There's one thing I was saying before the game about Castellanos. He did it really well for his chance that Perry saved well, is getting in the right areas, being there when that ball gets fizzed across. It was a brilliant ball from Diouf, absolutely perfect for someone that kind of made a good move and gambled past his defender, but there was no one there. Castellanos was nearer the edge of the area than he was the 6-yard line, and Traore again hadn't made that burst inside Justin or Struijk.
We are into a minimum of 4 more minutes, with Leeds leading here by A 1-0. Many fans around the stadium beginning to wander off for their half-time refreshment as Kilman plays it forward, but it's just launched high up in the air. But Matheus Fernandes was given a nudge there, or in fact he was the player doing the nudging, and it will be a free kick for Leeds inside the centre circle. And there was a raucous atmosphere inside the stadium pre-match, but Leeds have done well to keep the home fans quiet as Justin fires in a low cross from the left-hand side. It took a deflection off Disasi and into the arms of Areola at the near post. But again, West Ham were wide open in that sort of area.
I mean, that's not good enough defensively to just allow Justin the freedom to get in behind Walker-Peters. Disasi came across and at least made a block, but still it's too easy for Leeds, too often down that side in particular.
Magassa hooks it forward now, but it was over the head of Castellanos, and Struijk infield to Tanaka, but he's given it to Fernandes, and West Ham can maybe build here right at the end of the first half. On Talk Sport, it's Bowen who spins away from the challenge wide towards Diouf. Now Fernandes under pressure from Aronson, who came on for the injured Stach after an opportunity for Leeds to get their second goal. But West Ham have lost their attacking momentum once again. Here is Walker-Peters down the right hand side, comes in field, arms outstretched, wondering where the options were. Now Kilman on towards Diouf, and here is Fernandes. Tricky feet from him and a high cross towards the far post, and it's guided away by Justin, only as far as Walker-Peters, and then swung in by Magassa towards the far post. Bowen is in there, but he can't get the shot in, a couple of yards out, and it's gathered by Perry, and the flag was raised.
Yeah, it was difficult for Castellanos because Magassa's cross was spinning and loopy, no real pace on it to get the header goalwards. He was fighting as well with Ampadu, headed it down. Bowen knew he was offside anyway. BL did well though, just to make sure he was there and recover into a good position, just to get it back to his goalkeeper. A little better from West Ham. They've had some good positions out wide to cross, not quite made use of that yet.
Perry clears downfield, and Disasi does well to beat Mecha in the air. Now Diouf. The entirety of the pitch is now in shadow, despite bright sunshine illuminating the stand on the far side, as another wayward ball for West Ham drifts out of play, and Nuno stands there, arms folded, on the edge of the technical area. A big 15 minutes coming up for him here. And I think both teams could really do with half-time, because this game is rather ambling around at walking pace at the moment, as Justin will take a throw-in. And Craig Pawson blows the whistle, and you can hear one or two boos from the home supporters. But Leeds United are 45 minutes away from their first FA Cup semi-final since 1987. Ayo Tanaka with the goal after 26 minutes. His shot deflecting in off Axel Disasi. Anton Stach had a great chance to make it 2-0, but he was denied by Alphonse Areola. West Ham's best opportunities early on, both Castellanos and Bowen denied by fine saves from Lucas Perry. But at half-time, it is West Ham United 0, Leeds United 1. Thank you, Natalie. Well, it will be interesting to see the West Ham formation here, because two holding midfielders have come off and only one has come on really in Souček. I mean, Fernandes can drop into a slightly deeper role, but now West Ham have got Bowen, Castellanos, Pablo and Traore all in attack here, so they are really going for this.
They certainly are. Castellanos and Pablo could play up together, or Pablo could play as the 9. Castellanos has played slightly deeper at times, and Souček and Fernandes have definitely played as a two-man midfield before for Nuno Espirito Santo, but I think that's the right move. As we heard from my old gaffer Alan Pardew, this is a different competition. You've got to win it and get through, so you've got to be maybe a little bit braver. I think that's the right decision.
It looks like a switch to 3 at the back as well, so we'll see how that pans out But Leeds have a throw in here in the opening moments of the second half, wearing all blue, playing towards the Leeds supporters away to the right-hand side here at the London Stadium. Ampadu will launch this long towards the edge of the 6-yard area. Bowen tries to clear, and in the end Strauch unable to get the shot in, and Traore has got the opportunity to open his legs here and break, and he was caught inside the centre circle by Ampadu, and he knows the yellow card is coming, and there were no complaints about that.
Well, talk about obvious. Either he just felt he couldn't allow Traore to go, or he just didn't trust James Justin in a foot race with Adama Traore, because he just clearly drags him down. Ampadu knows he's going to get the yellow card. They're onto the break. Adama Traore is going to get away from him and be 1v1 against Justin, so he takes him out.
And Joe Rodon has got a problem at the other end. He was involved in the clutch of players looking to attack that throw-in into the penalty area from Ampadu, and it's only now that Alphonse Areola has hauled him back to his feet. So the West Ham team for the second half: Areola in goal, Walker-Peters, Kilman, Disasi and Diouf was the back four from the first half, but we'll wait and see if almost Souček drops in as an extra defender at times, almost in that quarterback role.
I think he just does that naturally anyway, but I think him and Fernandes will sit in front of the back four. Castellanos and Pablo will probably take it in turns, really, of being a 9 and a 10.
Yeah, Castellanos and Pablo up front, with Bowen and Traore in the wide areas, and Souček and Fernandes now at the heart of the midfield area. And Bowen's got a problem here, and Traore's still got a problem following the challenge from Ampadu. So Traore is now back to his feet, but Ampadu looks to be in some trouble here. A reminder, Leeds lost Anton Stach due to an injury in the first half. He's been replaced by Brendan Aronson, and it may be that Bowen just fell awkwardly when he was off balance after an aerial duel for that long ball into the area.
Yeah, I think that, again, it's just so crowded. I think you can get trodden on and just crushed almost as that long throw comes in.
The Leeds team now is Perry in goal, Strauch, Biol and Rode in the back three, Bogle and Justin are the wing backs, Ampadu and Tanaka now at the heart of midfield, with Aronson, Okafor and Mecha in attack for them. The goal coming from Al Tanaka after 26 minutes, and Joe Rodon may be coming off here. Leeds may be forced into another injury change right at the start of the second half. Of course, they've got a trip to Old Trafford a week on Monday in the Premier League. That's their next game following this one, although it seems that Rodon may be trying to shake this off. Well, it will be a free kick for West Ham following the earlier challenge on Traore, and it's played high into the penalty area by Diouf, headed away by Okafor, and Leeds playing with 10 men at the moment. Rodon is still off the field, but he's told the fourth official, Peter Banks, he's okay to continue. Traore swings a high ball in, Souček shaping for the header, but it's cleared by Leeds. And now Ampadu will try and bring it forward, and there's space and time here for Okafor down the left-hand side. Mecha is the only player waiting in the centre at the moment, but he's now been joined by Justin. Okafor continues. Walker-Peters, though, stands up, makes the challenge, but Leeds have it back. Aronson now on the edge of the penalty area, goes down looking for a free kick, doesn't get it. West Ham try and break, but the ball forward to Bowen doesn't come off, and it will be an opportunity for Walker-Peters to have to do some defending now, as it's brought forward by Bogle, but it's scrappy from both teams. Rodon back on the field, and he's won it back on this near side from Diouf in the left wing position, the central defender. Rodon is bowled over by Souček, and it will be a throw into West Ham, and Sebastian Bornau is preparing to come on here for Leeds. It will be another injury change for them.
Yeah, looks like he's struggling, Rodon, but I don't quite know he wants to go off, or whether he was signalling, look, get this done early, but he could just go down if it's that bad. Souček, what he will give you is that ability to run late into the penalty area and be a threat.
Souček now plays it forward for Castellanos, but he's offside. He strikes for goal. It's a brilliant finish, but it doesn't matter because everybody had stopped. And we should also welcome listeners from Sirius XMFC joining us across the United States and Canada today. It'll be lunchtime or late morning, wherever you are across the Americas, listening to this game. 6 minutes into the second half here, on a cool evening now at the London Stadium, and Leeds make that change, and Roden coming off. Bornau will come on, and Daniel Farke will be hoping that the injuries for Roden and Stach are not significant.
No, but it's a blow, isn't it, to have to make those changes due to injury. Luckily, because of players coming back, he's actually got a good deep squad to choose from. Players on the bench that he can call upon that don't necessarily weaken his side too much, who are now coming in, who've had plenty of minutes and played against Birmingham in this competition too.
Yeah, 3 starts in the FA Cup before today, but only 4 in the Premier League this season for the Belgian, signed from Wolfsburg. But you look at the Leeds bench today, and it is significantly stronger than what West Ham have to offer. They brought on Pablo and Souček, and as you were saying, there aren't too many other experienced options. Well, there aren't any. As Leeds come forward now, Bogle squeezes infield to Ampadu, quickly forward to Metscher, and now Bogle again on this near side, the Leeds right, low towards the edge of the penalty area. It was clipped on by Metscher, looking for Aronson, and it's then won back by Justin, but he fouled Matias Fernandez, and it will be a free kick for West Ham. 7 minutes into the second half, but it's been rather stop-start due to injuries so far, and it's still West Ham United 0, Leeds United 1 here in the FA Cup quarter-final on TalkSport.
Yeah, but there definitely is a more attacking look to the West Ham team since those substitutions, with the 4 forwards now up against Leeds defence. It's packed with numbers.
Still Dundee 0, Celtic 1 in Scotland after Hearts drew 2-2 at Livingston today. And Brighton and Liverpool are the first 2 teams into the semi-finals of the Women's FA Cup. Brighton causing a surprise, winning 2-0 at Arsenal. Now Ampadu clips it all the way back to Lucas Perry, the Leeds goalkeeper. Leeds scoring midway through the first half, and they had a really good chance to make it 2-0. That was the shot from Anton Stach when he was challenged by Max Kilman. It was a great save in the end from Alphonse Areola, and the challenge from Kilman left Stach injured and unable to continue, as Fernandez here tries to charge forward for West Ham, but a good challenge from Bornau, and now Aronson weaving up to the halfway line, and he's played a good ball to release Okafor down the left. He can speed up towards the edge of the penalty area, and the low ball in, nearly found Bogle, but Leeds have it back again. So many blue shirts forward here. Metscher inside the penalty area, but he's closed down, and Castellanos will try and bring the ball clear. He almost gives it away to Tanaka, but now Pablo heads it down to Castellanos, and West Ham will try and break, but the crossfield ball from Castellanos was deflected by Aronson, and it's back with Juve.
Well, there was a vital bit of defending in there from Kilman. He gambled and read the cross brilliantly as that came across from Okafor, because you're right, it was going to get to Bogle as Metscher let it go, but Kilman read it brilliantly to step in. Otherwise Bogle would have had a free attempt at goal.
And West Ham trying to build now, and the crowd getting behind them as Bowen plays it into the channel for Walker Peters to chase. First time ball into the area is blocked at the near post by Strauch, but it will be a throw-in for West Ham by the corner flag on the far side. 10 minutes into the second half here on TalkSport. Leeds a goal up. The final word coming up with Majestic and Alan Pardew at the end of this game, along with the semi-final draw for the FA Cup. Bowen back in field again towards Kilman, 35 yards out, right to his left, and Juve. And now Fernandez. And Leeds have got time to defensively regroup here as it's played wide to Traore. on the left, and he comes in field, clips a high ball to the far post. Pablo was challenging for it, and there's a clash of heads there at the far post. Bornau, who has only just come on, is the player involved for Leeds, and both he and Pablo will need treatment here.
Yeah, I think it's Biel actually that's just behind Bornau and got a brilliant header away. Pablo thinks he's about to head it into the back of the net, and of course the two collide as Biel just beats him to it. It's a nasty looking one for sure, and again just isn't allowing this game at the moment with these injuries to get any sort of flow.
But the West Ham fans try and turn up the volume inside the London Stadium as we have yet another injury break here. A reminder coming up tomorrow, massive day in the EFL on Easter Monday, and we begin at Fratton Park. Big game at the bottom, Portsmouth against Oxford on TalkSport. Adrian Durham will then have game day live, and on TalkSport 2 a double header, 3 o'clock Ipswich against Birmingham and Swansea against Middlesbrough at 5:30, and at 8 o'clock back here on TalkSport it is Hull against Coventry. Then on Tuesday on TalkSport, Sporting Lisbon against Arsenal in the Champions League quarter-finals. Southampton, after their win in the quarter-finals of the FA Cup, they go to Wrexham, and that's on TalkSport 2. And then on Wednesday we're live from the Parc des Princes for Paris Saint-Germain against Liverpool. Bologna Villa in the Europa League is here on TalkSport on Thursday, and Porto Forest will be on TalkSport 2. And West Ham next in action on Friday, and that's also live on TalkSport in the Premier League at home to Wolves. And West Ham have been in decent form, of course. 4 wins, 3 draws and 3 losses after that run of 10 without a win, which really piled the pressure on Nuno. Pablo is still waiting to come back on here as Dundee equalise against Celtic at Dens Park in the Scottish Premiership. It's 1-1 there as Traore tries to head on the outside to scoot beyond the run of Bogle, but carries the ball out of play. And both Pablo and Biel yet to attract the attention of Craig Pawson. They do now, and they both come back out onto the field. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is among those warming up for Leeds.
Leeds will be happy just to spoil the game as well. It's another thing that they've been, I think, pretty good at this season. They were last season in the Championship as well. It wasn't all wonderful football from Daniel Farke's Leeds United. He's evolved as a manager. He wants his teams to be much harder to beat, harder to play against, got an edge to them. And we'll use all of that, I think.
And Fernandez nearly gave that ball away to Okafor. He got away with it because West Ham recovered, but now it's been given away by Pablo. And here's an opportunity for Okafor, who was in behind him. He's got Mecha waiting in the centre. Okafor may look to go alone, and in the end he overruns it. May be caught in 2 minds, and it's a goal kick. But once again, West Ham almost gifting Leeds a great opportunity.
I think you're right. I think he doesn't quite know what to do here, whether to play this across or take it himself and shoot. He then faces up Disasi, goes down the outside, but it's a poor touch, and Disasi just gets his arm across, and he can't get to the ball the other side of him. The first part was brilliant, but maybe should have just been a bit more decisive there, Okafor.
Castellanos looking to release Bowen now down the right hand side, and he's quick enough to keep the ball in play deep inside the area. Pull back to Castellanos, and he wraps the shot against the outside of the stanchion at the near post. But the game beginning to open up, and that will benefit West Ham.
And the first time we've seen Bowen, who's switched sides in this half to his favoured right hand side. He was always going to keep that in with his pace. And once he checks back, he's just waiting for runners to spot the right one. Pablo in the middle. Castellanos was following up from his pass. Tried to drill it near post into the top corner. Just got ahead of it slightly and fired it into the stanchion at the back of the goal.
And the West Ham fans not too happy about the tardiness of Leeds' restarts now. An hour played, they're just trying to milk the clock, leading by a 1-0 as It's eventually cleared downfield by Perry, all the way through to Areola. And Kilman now will find Souček, one of two players to come on for West Ham at half-time, but you take out himself and Pablo, and everybody else is a youngster or is relatively untried on the West Ham bench. There is no Hermansen, Wan-Bissaka, Mavropanos, Wilson or Somerville involved today. As Disasi brings it forward now, the player on loan from Chelsea. Of course, they're already through to the semi-finals along with Manchester City and Southampton. Okafor though wins it back for Leeds. Tries to find Metcher on the halfway line, but Disasi reads that and now finds Kilman, and there's an opportunity now for Juve to bring it forward. Wide to Traore on the left-hand side. Traore now coming back infield onto the right foot. It's a decent ball in, and the header at the far post comes back off the post from Castellanos.
Got to score. It's a huge chance for West Ham. Castellanos reads the cross, which was brilliant from by Traore, but just heads it against the post. He must see so much of the goal. He doesn't need to be that accurate.
Juve with another dangerous ball into the area just beyond Bowen. Walker-Peters though will do well to keep that ball in play, but he does, and he's found Bowen now, left hand side of the penalty area. He comes in field, low shot has been blocked. Now Disasi encouraged to shoot, and he does, but he wraps it into the body of Tanaka, and it will be a throw into West Ham, but they are on top in this game at the moment. Walker-Peters now from the throw-in. Plays it back to Fernandez, a high hanging cross from him. Traore leaps and does well to win the header, fisted away by Perry. It's loose inside the area. Walker-Peters will gather, twisting and turning. He crosses, Castellanos goes down. He was looking for it, doesn't get it, but here is Walker-Peters again. Lays it back to Fernandez, the cross is deflected, it's a corner, and you can hear the West Ham crowd now sensing an equaliser may be imminent.
Well, we didn't see that in the first half, did we? He's winning the second balls when it was taken and cleared by Leeds. West Ham weren't onto the seconds. They have been so far in this second half. Castellanos with his chance, I think he feels like he needs to be really accurate in the corner, and he doesn't. He just needs to find the back of the net from such a great position. Perry wouldn't have got across his goal.
Noah Okafor is down here receiving treatment, and the home fans once again believe it's an attempt to try and break up the game from Leeds. Okafor did come into this match with a hamstring issue, and a whole phalanx of Leeds replacements are now heading back to the bench, so we'll see who, if anyone, begins to strip and get ready, and there could be one or two changes here, and Calvert-Lewin looks to be getting ready to come on for Leeds as well.
It would be a blow though, wouldn't it? Okafor picking up another muscle injury, because I don't think he's been outstanding in the game.
Ilya Gruev will be another one of the players who will be coming on, along with Wilfried Gnonto. So we're getting to 65 minutes. It's often a changing time for many managers, and it's possible this was all part of the plan for Daniel Farke, whatever happens. Corner for West Ham. Bowen high into the near post. It's flicked away initially, and then at the far post, Ampadu, under pressure from Pablo, will hammer the ball away. He wants a free kick, but it's a throw into West Ham. Juve will take it quickly. Back to Fernandez, who made his debut for Portugal against the United States during the international break. Wide towards Bowen now, looking to tease Justin. Justin though blocks the cross, but Bowen may get a second bite at the cherry. But here is Walker-Peters. Now Fernandez, back towards Bowen again. He cuts in field, high cross towards that far post. Souček was waiting, and I think had the ball got to him directly, he may well have scored, but it took a deflection on the way through. That took some pace off the ball, and Perry was able to gather. A great throw from him to release Metcher. He cleverly dinked it inside for Aronson, who slipped at the crucial moment, and West Ham come forward again now. Walker-Peters on the right hand side, finding Bowen. Fernandez in support. Bowen though tries to drill in the cross, and there were 3 blue shirts waiting to block it, but Fernandez has won it back. His cross though once again was blocked, and it's Okafor back there defending. He goes down though, seems to also bring down Fernandez, but he's quickly back to his feet. Craig Pawson allows play to continue, but it's Leeds who win the ball back and clear. And a long ball forward. Aronson will chase, and Kilman has to get there first and does, and plays it back to Areola.
Yeah, when he gets going, Kilman has got enough pace to just ward off Aronson. But they built some good momentum in the game, West Ham, by winning those second balls and keeping the pressure up.
66 minutes played. Leeds has 1-0 lead, beginning to look a bit tenuous, as Matthias plays it back towards Disasi. And now Souček fighting Diouf. Diouf chopping back inside again to find Souček. And there's not a huge amount of width for West Ham at the moment. So Disasi plays the cross in, it's glanced away, but Traore will gather now at the far post on the left and look to try and hit the byline. But in the end, Aronson comes back to make the challenge. I don't think Bogle kept that ball in play. He didn't, and it will be a corner to West Ham as we approach the midpoint of the second half here on TalkSport. West Ham 0, Leeds 1, but the Hammers belatedly are right on top.
It just feels like you've got to take advantage when you are on top. Got to get that equaliser while they're on top. Leeds wanting to make changes, a triple change, and you're Farker recognising West Ham have got on top in this second half.
Fernandez will swing this corner in from the left-hand side towards that near post. It's cleared as far as Bowen, who hits it, and it was Aronson with a good block. Back towards Walker-Peters. Clips it around the corner to find Bowen again. He chops in field, but his cross is blocked at the near post by Ampadu, and it will be a throw into West Ham. Gruev, Calvert-Lewin and Nonto will all be coming on. And will Leeds choose to make the changes now? They will, even though they are defending. Noah Okafor is the first player to come off, which is no surprise. He had that injury issue a few moments ago. Lucas Metzger will also make way, so Calvert-Lewin will come on for him. Nonto will effectively replace Okafor, and Gruev will come on at the heart of midfield, and it's the goal scorer Ayo Tanaka who will make way for him.
Yeah, I think just wanting a bit more control on the ball, Gruev will give them that to try and play out, and then having Nonto come on for, you think might be a slightly injured Okafor. Calvert-Lewin, Nemecha not getting any joy against Disasi this afternoon. Calvert-Lewin maybe trying to change that.
But it's a throw-in to West Ham on the far side with 69 minutes played on TalkSport. West Ham 0, Leeds 1 in the FA Cup quarter-finals. The semi-final draw coming up in the final word with Majestic and Alan Pardew, and we'll also bring you reaction from both teams at the end of this game. Now Kilman, wide towards Disasi, and live football every day of next week coming up on the TalkSport network as well. Here is Calvert-Lewin. Nonto around the corner to find Justin, and then the challenge on Nonto, and it will be a free kick for Leeds in a dangerous area, wide on the left hand side, almost level with the edge of the West Ham penalty area.
You just think you've got it, and he's just too sharp, Nonto, away from Disasi, who just shoved him in the back. So a chance and a bit of relief for Leeds. Been tightly packed in, hadn't they, for a good 10 minutes there.
Free kick wide on the far side, and it's Gruev who is over this. It will be pretty much his first touch to deliver this ball in. Calvert-Lewin waits at the near post. Gruev though flights it deeper, and the shot was hit well on the half volley by Pascal Strag, but it's over the top.
Well, it looked as if that was how they'd want to work the free kick, but no one actually moved. Luckily, Strauch read it towards the end of that cross, swiveled, half volley, caught it really well actually. Good 3 or 4 yards over the top, but Gruev, I'm pretty sure, meant to play it behind everybody.
Here is Nonto though, on the edge of the penalty area now, in towards Aronson. Aronson, excellent challenge by Kilman, stopping what looked to be a certain goal there for Brendan Aronson. Leeds appealing for a penalty, but on first viewing, Kilman got the ball.
Yeah, great challenge by Kilman. He had to get it right. Aronson feeling as if he was taken out before Kilman got the ball. Not for me. Just steps across. He's too strong. Catches Aronson.
Looking at the replay, it's whether he went over the ball and didn't make any contact with it.
Yeah, because his thigh then kind of catches the ball at the end rather than his left foot.
They are checking for a possible penalty here. Konstantin Hadziakis is looking at this. Well, we're watching replays over and over again, and Kilman tried to go for the ball certainly, but didn't get it, and then did catch Aronson first.
Yeah, so missed the ball, catches Aronson, and then gets the ball with his left knee. So I'm sure they'll say, well, the first contact is on Aronson.
Craig Pawson is heading to the screen here, and the screen has been extended on its arm out towards the edge of the technical areas, and Craig Pawson is now having a good look at this. What a moment in the game with 18 minutes to play. Pawson is talking to Hadziakis and is watching this replay on multiple occasions. The on-field decision was no penalty, of course.
And you can see why. Initial look at it looked like Kilman made a great challenge and hooked the ball away. On second viewing, missed the ball with that first challenge, yes, then hooked the ball away, but had caught Aronson first off.
Well, Craig Pawson has had a look, and he will now make his way back out onto the field.
After review, West Ham United number 3 commits the careless foul challenge.
It's a penalty. And what will happen here to Max Kilman? A yellow card for him. It was a genuine attempt to win the ball, but a penalty for Leeds here, and an opportunity to seal a place in the semi-finals.
Well, he got across. He just needed to connect with the ball. He just misses the ball, Kilman. He then hooks the ball back, but it's too late. The initial challenge was on Aronson, who straight away turned to the referee. He felt it was a penalty. What a big opportunity for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who has just stepped onto the pitch. This is probably his first touch.
Well, Dominic Calvert-Lewin hasn't scored in the FA Cup since February of 2021, in a bizarre game in which Everton beat Spurs 5-4 inside an empty Goodison Park. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin here has the opportunity to put Leeds on the brink of the FA Cup semi-final, up against Alphonse Areola, with 9,000 Leeds United fans willing him on. Calvert-Lewin scores, and for the first time in 39 years, Leeds are heading to the FA Cup semi-finals. Calvert-Lewin celebrates in front of those delirious Leeds fans. His first touch in the game was a comprehensive penalty, and the West Ham United supporters are heading for home already. Their hopes dashed yet again, but Leeds are marching on in the FA Cup.
Just look at what it means to the supporters, the FA Cup. Those Leeds supporters ecstatic. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, so cool, so calm, goes through his routine, puts the ball down, steps back 2 big steps, puff of the chest, steps up and whips it with his right foot across into the corner. Areola goes the opposite way. And Leeds now, you don't think that they're going to let this go. A chance to go to Wembley.
Well, it was John Stiles and Mickey Adams at Springfield Park back in 1987. It is Ayo Tanaka and Dominic Calvert-Lewin here at the London Stadium today. And Leeds United, who had to weather a significant period of pressure there, broke out. Aronson won the penalty. Calvert-Lewin has scored it, his 11th of the season. And West Ham must now come back from 2 goals down with 14 minutes of normal time to play, and many of their fans are heading home already.
Well, came here with great optimism. The West Ham supporters, they've got to try and believe, the players have got to believe that they can get back into it.
Traore now with the low ball into the penalty area, and it's headed behind, and it will be a corner. And you're listening to FA Cup Game Day on TalkSport with McDonald's. Order delivery on the McDonald's app from 11 a.m, 18 plus, fees apply to delivery orders, subject to availability, prices may vary. Well, if West Ham are to stage a dramatic comeback, it needs to start here. Matheus Fernandes will deliver the corner kick, but it's too deep. 2 bounces outside the penalty area, straight out of play on the far side for a throw-in. And what a waste that is, but the Leeds fans are dancing away to our right-hand side. And you can be sure they'll all be back to head to Wembley in the final weekend in April for the FA Cup semi-final, if it stays like this. Now Gnonto has been fouled, and it will be a free kick for Leeds just inside the Leeds half on the far side. You have to go back many years for the last time Leeds scored at Wembley. Of course, they were beaten by West Ham in the playoff final a couple of years ago, beaten by Hull in the playoff final going back to 2008, and then I think you're then heading back towards the 1970s. Calvert-Lewin plays the ball inside, the shot's deflected, but here is Bogle across the face of goal, and it's flicked just wide by Gnonto. He tried an audacious flick there with the goal empty, and it bobbled just beyond that far post.
Oh, I mean, such a clever flick, the Cruyff flick, and that would have really sealed it. That would have been it for Leeds United. Gnonto so close, grazes the post almost. This place has just gone flat for West Ham. Leeds trying to take advantage. Gnonto so close.
Well, it's a free kick for Leeds, and we have just over 11 minutes to play as Calvert-Lewin looks to try and control a long ball played forward, but it's straight out of play, and it will be a goal kick to West Ham. But all the noise, all the colour is coming from the Leeds fans at the moment at the London Stadium. No sign of a West Ham comeback at the moment, and they would have to lift themselves for that game coming up live on TalkSport on Friday here at home to Wolves in the Premier League, as Adama Traore brings it forward now, clips it back towards Diouf in support, and now Fernandes. Diouf again, and Fernandes is forced back to the halfway line, and it's the work that Leeds have done without the ball which has been key to their potential success here today.
But you've got to take your chances when they come about. Castellanos had that chance, didn't he, when they were on top in the second half. He hit the post when he just needed to head that in, and then Leeds going down the other end and getting that second goal from the penalty spot has just sapped the energy.
And now an opportunity for Willy Gnonto to bring it forward. Cuts in field for the left-hand side. Fires in the shot, which was blocked by Disasi at the near post. And it's cleared up to the halfway line where Matheus Fernandes will control, squeezes the ball in field. And Gruev will try and win it back, and he does. And then Aronson, but he's lost out, and West Ham will try and clear, but it's Castellanos who has gifted the ball away, and Bornau hits it, and it's tipped over the top by Areola, and Sebastian Bornau, of all people, almost makes it 3-0.
Yeah, just latched onto the loose pass from Castellanos, who was caught. Bornau then struck through it powerfully. Areola with an unusual save, using both hands but kind of patting it to his left hand side. But it's just opened up. West Ham they have to gamble with players getting forwards. It is going to open things up for Leeds on the break.
Kelechi Iheanacho has scored for Celtic. They lead 2-1 away to Dundee in the Scottish Premiership. Early today, Hearts drawing 2-2 with Livingston, so they're a point clear of Rangers, who got their points on the board yesterday. Leeds corner here. Gruev takes it high to the far post, fisted away by Areola, but it comes back out to the Bulgarian Gruev once again. And now a high ball in from Bogle, and Bogle will recover it. And if there are to be any more goals in this game at the moment, Dean, it looks like Leeds will score them.
Yeah, it does. But West Ham have to make it chaotic to try and give themselves a chance to get back into it.
Here's Calvert-Lewin now, wriggling into the area down the left-hand side, and he's won a corner off Walker-Peters. That's clever play as Leeds keep the late pressure on here.
They've been very good, Leeds, for most of this game. Yes, there was that 10-minute period that West Ham had in the start of the second half, but for most of the game they've been very composed in possession. They've worked incredibly hard out of possession as a team to close West Ham down and make it difficult for them.
And we mentioned that Leeds' last appearance at Wembley was the playoff final defeat against Southampton. Of course, that could be repeated in the semi-finals. We'll find out in around an hour or so's time. Corner for Leeds, high to the far post. Calvert-Lewin was challenging, but it's gathered well by Areola. He quickly bowls it out to this near side, looking for the run of Juve, who almost has to run over the top of Gruev, and in the end Craig Pawson says that Gruev was pushed by Juve, and it will be a free kick for Leeds.
Which he was. Strange decision from Areola to bowl that out to Juve. Did surprise me, when you've got to get back into the game. Yes, you're defending a corner, but you've got nobody upfield.
Bornau will take the free kick. Leeds with only one away victory in the Premier League this season, but winning on the road for the third time this season in the FA Cup. And they're heading through to their first semi-final since 1987, when they lost to Coventry as a second-tier side. Ampadu will take the throw-in for Leeds on this near side. 6 minutes to play on Talk Sport. West Ham 0, Leeds 2. The final word coming up with Majestic and Alan Pardew in around 15 minutes time, unless West Ham produce something quite extraordinary. Headed on towards the edge of the penalty area now. Nonto will try and flick it back to Justin, but Pablo does well to win it back for West Ham. But he's deep inside his own half, under pressure from Nonto. Tries to jab it down the line, and he's lost out. And Nonto now can come forward for Leeds in towards Calvert-Lewin, who I think tried to flick it further back towards a teammate. But now Leeds have it again, and it was Ampadu who pinged in a shot from long range. That was blocked. And now Bogle coming forward for Leeds. Untidy challenge on this near side from Fernandes, and that's a free kick for Leeds, level with the edge of the West Ham penalty area.
Well, that's 2 or 3 times Fernando has had the chance to drive himself, hasn't been quick thinking in his decision making. Struck against Disasi one time, played it to Calvert-Lewin there when I think he probably should have had the shot, but that is what the change was for from Daniel Farke, just to give Leeds a grip of the game back.
Ilya Gruev will take this free kick once again. It will be an in-swinger with the left foot. It's a great position here for Leeds with 4.5 minutes to play. Looking to make absolutely sure with a third goal. Gruev's delivery high to the far post. It's beyond everybody. And it will be a goal kick. And Nuno Espirito Santo turns away. Arms folded on the edge of the West Ham technical area. He had won all 4 of his previous cup quarter-finals. For Rio Ave in Portugal, Wolves and Nottingham Forest in England, and Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia. But it looks like defeat here today. Here is Diouf though for West Ham with 4 minutes of normal time to play. Leeds leading by 2 goals to 0. Sassi wide towards Walker-Peters. And I would say that 50% of the West Ham seats in the stadium now are empty. The early rush for the Central line has already started as Traore tries to bring it forward here, but he's challenged. But he's unable to gather as Bogle puts him off, and it will be a throw into Leeds on this near side. And
yeah, it doesn't have the feel of West Ham trying to really push to the end. It doesn't look like they've got much left in them. They've been sapped of their energy, as well as the supporters after that second goal.
And it's a big question now about lifting them for Wolves on Friday.
Yeah, it is. And who's going to be fit for that as well? Is Somerville going to be ready? I think that'll be the big question, because he's such a big player for them. For Panos, Wan-Bissaka, these players are needed because the squad isn't particularly deep.
Well, we billed Dean Ashton at the start of the game as the last West Ham player to score a winning goal in an FA Cup quarter-final, and you still are. Here is Fernandes. And West Ham's wait to reach a semi-final goes on, but Leeds' even longer wait looks to be coming to an end here. As Kilman plays it square towards Disasi. Into the 89th minute here at the London Stadium. 03717 223344 is the number to call for the final word with Majestic and Alan Pardew at the end of this game. Traore. And again he thinks about cutting inside to cross, but then tries to go on the outside eventually. Plays it back to Diouf. Diouf delivers the cross into the penalty area, but it's defended well at the near post by Biol. Ampadu plays it square and Leeds can break. Gruev plays it over the top, and there's a potential break on again here as Aronson gathers down the right hand side. Calvert-Lewin made the run into the centre, but here's Bogle who hits it, cutting in field from the right hand side, but it's over the top.
Yeah, it didn't feel like the right decision in the end for Bogle. Into a good position, he had plenty of players in the penalty area. Calvert-Lewin joining Wilfried Gnonto, Gruev in the area. Should have played that across for one of them. Instead he flashed the shot up and over. Another good break from Leeds.
West Ham looking to gather again here and build, but Fernandes has lost out. But Traore has managed to pick the pocket of Ampadu. Here is Souček. 20 seconds of normal time to play here on TalkSport. West Ham United 0, Leeds United 2 in the FA Cup quarter-finals. It'll be Manchester City, Chelsea, Southampton and Leeds United in the final 4. Two of the regulars and two unexpected teams, it must be said, as Bogle is penalised for a challenge here on Traore, and there will be 11 minutes of added time.
A couple of raised eyebrows from the Leeds players in particular, but there was a lot of stoppages at the start of the half that I think have been forgotten.
Well, if West Ham score now, they've got loads of time. Fernandez over the free kick with Diouf. Level with the edge of the Leeds penalty area on the West Ham left. Fernandez with the delivery low into the near post. It's cleared away. Back towards Fernandez again. And now Diouf will swing in that cross to the near post, and the header skims the crossbar from Pablo.
Yeah, he just tried to twist his neck, didn't he? Because he was ahead of the near post. So he wanted to get the angle on the header. Whipped him by Diouf. Just tried to angle the header towards the near post top corner. He wasn't far away. It grazes the top of the netting as it goes past. That would have really made for an exciting end to the game.
Well, Leeds' FA Cup success all confined to the Revie era, winning the competition in 1972 when they beat Arsenal 1-0 at Wembley, runners-up in 1965, 1970 and 1973. But they will be one game away from the final, and they are heading back to Wembley once again. Calvert-Lewin beaten to it in the air by Diouf, and here is Souček, and now Kilman back towards Disasi. Still 9 minutes of added time to play. Pablo will chase a long ball into the penalty area, lays it back to Traore. Traore lifts it high to the far post. Bowen is able to pull the ball down. Bowen comes in field, fires in the shot. Oh, it's hit the inside of the post, but it's turned in by Fernandez, and West Ham are back in the game. Matheus Fernandez, after the shot from Bowen, clattered off the inside of the post, and we've a long time still to play. West Ham 1, Leeds 2.
Well, it should have given them a lift 11 minutes when that was put up on the board, and it has. Brilliant from Bowen. Absolutely why he's got to be on that right hand side. He cuts in onto his left foot. A stunning effort. Curling, whipping towards that far corner. Comes bounding back off that post straight to Fernandez, who takes a super first touch to then side foot it back into the back of the net to give us that exciting ending.
Well, we still have at least 8 minutes of added time to play here. West Ham 1, Leeds 2 on TalkSport. As Kilman heads it down, and the game was absolutely dying on its feet. But now the West Ham fans still in the stadium are full of hope. And the Leeds fans who were planning their trips to Wembley may be now a bit nervous. Disasi hooks it forward, but it's straight to Ampadu. Now Aronson challenged by Fernandez, and West Ham fans are now coming back into the stadium. Never leave early.
Incredible, isn't it?
I wonder how far they got. All around the stadium, the stairwells are full of people coming back in.
Well, you hear the roar, don't you? And you think, oh no.
Well, you would do if you were sat on the central line. Here is Nonto coming forward now for Leeds. He's around the back, left-hand side. Low ball in. Disasi, though, is there to cut it out. He finds Walker-Peters, but it's a difficult ball for him to control in a tight area. And in the end, he uses Disasi, who hooks it forward. Pablo beaten to it in the air by Gruev. Now Ampadu. And Ampadu claims he was fouled, but it's a throw-in for West Ham. And we still have 6.5 minutes of added time to play on TalkSport.
Yeah, just got to build for that opportunity. Leeds have got to concentrate, defend properly. West Ham are just hoping for one more chance.
And remember, Leeds' most recent away defeat, 4-3 at Newcastle, when they led 3-2 in added time, was a cross is lifted in by Traore into the penalty area, and it's gathered by Perry, and he's not hurrying. Well, the crowd has certainly been swelled in the last couple of minutes as Kilman heads it forward now for West Ham. Traore tries to work it back in field to Pablo. Ampadu playing it back towards Lucas Perry. And now Disasi stepping in before Nonto. And Souček now for West Ham. 95 and a half minutes played. West Ham 1, Leeds 2 on TalkSport 2. Now Traore with the opportunity to attack down the left-hand side. Jufa's run offside, but Traore's ball in. Oh, goodness me! It's guided in! Disasi with the equaliser! West Ham have scored twice in added time, and Leeds may have blown it. They have the FA Cup semi-final in their pockets, but West Ham United have come from 2 goals down in added time, and we may be heading for extra time.
That's why you should never give up in the FA Cup. That dream is always alive. Well, you've still got time on the clock. 11 minutes were put up. It gave the West Ham players a lift. So did that first goal. Brilliant from Traore. So good. Yes, he could use his pace. Of course he could. He doesn't. Fakes to go down the line. Cuts in. First time cross. Causes all sorts of trouble. It's whether it's Disasi's foot or Strauch's head, I'm not too sure. I think it's Disasi's foot. He just flings his right leg up and catches something, some part of it.
They caught Strauch's head.
Caught Strauch's head, and Strauch headed into his own net. Incredible.
Well, if that's Disasi's goal, it's his first for West Ham. But Leeds are saying that should be a high boot. And the game is yet to resume here, and Craig Pawson is surrounded by Leeds players. Jarrod Bowen is also having his say, and they are checking for a possible foul on the goal.
But how much of the ball did Disasi
But
get?
if the foot's up there, it doesn't really matter, does it? Well, it's been checked and the goal's been given. Leeds are furious, but it's 2-2 in the 98th minute here on TalkSport.
Just incredible. You're right, it felt like it was completely dead and buried for West Ham. The amount of supporters that had left, they thought it was over. You felt the players thought it was over.
It's a lot busier now, isn't it, around the
It's a lot
stadium?
busier. 11 minutes. That was the difference.
Well, there could still be time for West Ham to win this. And the Leeds fans cannot believe it. There was a young Leeds fan there in the arms of his father in tears, we saw on the monitor. But from their point of view, it's absolutely shocking game management to be 2-0 up in added time and give it away. But we could be heading for extra time here. Majestic and Alan Pardew may just have to wait. So too the semi-final draw for the FA Cup. Still 2.5 minutes of added time to play, and there'll be more as well for the aftermath of those 2 goals.
West Ham feel like they can win it. They're trying to do everything quickly. Pump this ball in towards the Leeds penalty area from halfway.
And remember, Leeds' last defeat, they had the game won at Newcastle and they lost 4-3 deep into added time. Into the 100th minute here. Free kick for West Ham, high towards the edge of the penalty area. Castellanos tries to keep the ball alive. Pablo now challenging, and it drops to Souček. It's a good ball from him, wide towards Bowen. Bowen jabs it down the line, and it takes a ricochet off Justin, and it will be a throw into West Ham. And they have an opportunity here to hurl this high into the area.
Oh, well, they just try and play this short to get a decent cross in. Fernandez and Bowen have both gone over. Walker-Peters setting up as if he is going to take a long throw.
Now Fernandez from the throw-in crosses high into the penalty area. Aronson will try and bring the ball clear. Leeds are on the rack here, having been in control of this game as we ticked into added time. Now it's slipped forward towards Castellanos. He tries to win it back from Ampadu inside the area, but Ampadu will bring the ball away. And it's slipped forward towards Dominic Calvert-Lewin though, but he can't keep the ball in play as he tries to find Nonto. We're into the 101st minute. The final of the 11 minutes of added time. West Ham 2, Leeds 2 here on TalkSport. West Ham 2 goals down as we head into added time. But now they are searching a winning goal, incredibly. It's Played forward by Juve, looking for Traore, but overhit and through towards Perry.
Well, it just shows, doesn't it, that first goal that West Ham got, how good Leeds have been, so organised. That defensive structure just kind of went out the window for a couple of minutes.
But now it's flicked on towards Nonto. He chases into the area, and Walker-Peters had to be quick there to get it ahead of him and clear.
Yeah, I think it would have been a handball anyway by Wilfried Nonto as he went through, but Walker-Peters didn't know that, got back brilliantly.
Now Gruev goes to ground to win it back from Bowen. Leeds could have one final chance here. Nonto, he's challenged by Fernandez. Free kick for Leeds, level with the edge of the West Ham penalty area on the left-hand side.
Just know you can't go and try and win that. Nonto is so good at that. So good at just getting his body across at the last second. Did really well to shield that from Fernandez, who gives away the free kick. Leeds now with the opportunity to possibly win it.
03717 22 33 is the number for the final word, and they'll want to hear from you if you're a West Ham fan who left early and didn't come back. Free kick here on the far side, which Gruev will take for Leeds. They could win it here. We are nearly 13 minutes into added time at the end of this extraordinary FA Cup quarter-final. 2-2 the scoreline. West Ham have pulled everybody back on the edge of their 6-yard area. Gruev flights it in. Calvert-Lewin with the header. No power behind it, and it's gathered by Areola. Areola now bowls it out. Long and high up to the halfway line, looking for Juve. Juve now will try and go beyond the challenge of Aronson. Aronson goes to ground. Juve wins it back, and in the end, the free kick is given to Leeds.
Yeah, just the wrong person to pick out there. Areola went to Juve, and it was actually Traore and Bowen through the middle he should have thrown it to. I feel as if that's probably about it now. Incredible that West Ham have even got back into this to take it to extra time.
Free kick for Leeds. The Leeds team, which has been shorn of Joe Rodon and Anton Stach during the match due to injury. Noah Okafor also limped off as well. But when Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored the penalty, they looked to be home and hosed. But Leeds have conceded twice in added time, and that is the end of 90 minutes. And we are heading to extra time. The Leeds fans look absolutely stunned. The West Ham fans, who either stayed or have come back into the stadium, they are the happier. Leeds 2 goals up in the 93rd minute thanks to Ayo Tanaka and a Dominic Calvert-Lewin penalty. But Matias Fernandez and Axel Disasi scored for West Ham in added time. And this quarter-final tie is heading for extra time. At the end of 90 minutes, it is West Ham United 2, Leeds United 2. Thank you, Natalie. Well, no one's saying now that this game doesn't really matter in the midst of a relegation battle, and the scenes at the end clearly show that it matters to both West Ham United and Leeds United. And I just wonder how many of those West Ham fans who left early managed to get back into the stadium. I would imagine about half of those who left got back in, and it's Leeds who get extra time underway, and they will be the team lacking momentum at the moment, wearing all blue, attacking the goal away to our left, because if anything, Daniel Farke will need to have done a rebuilding job in terms of confidence during that break, Dean.
Absolutely devastating.
Castellanos could be in here. A mistake by Perry, and Castellanos has scored. What a mistake by Lucas Perry. He headed the ball up in the air outside the penalty area, and Tati Castellanos was there to nod the ball in from a very tight angle. It just about crept over the line, and West Ham United, who were 2 goals down after 90 minutes, now lead 3-2 in the opening minute of extra time.
Well, the heads haven't been cleared for the Leeds United players, because that's just a ridiculous decision from the goalkeeper. It's just a hopeful punt forwards by West Ham.
Or is he offside?
Possibly could be offside. Castellanos, he gets onto it. Perry, why doesn't he just catch it? He can catch it inside his area. he just goes to head it, totally misjudges it, heads it up in the air. Castellanos does brilliantly to control the volley from a tight angle, but this will be looked at.
Well, they're checking for offside against Castellanos, and it was a break he made close to the halfway line, but inside the Leeds half. And once again, Konstantin Hadziakis is a central figure. Perry is convinced it's offside, and it is, and that's a massive let-off for Leeds.
Isn't it just? Lucas Perry, big sigh of relief. Big sigh. He's got away with a horrible mistake, but Castellanos just didn't quite get himself back on side. He was offside, he tried to jump back on and then spin away, didn't quite do it.
And we're looking at the semi-automated offside on the big screen in the stadium, and he just leaned in behind Jacobiol, and Castellanos offside, although a good deal happened after that. But we go back to the initial decision, and it remains 2-2. 2.5 minutes into the first period of extra time here on TalkSport. If you've just joined us, Leeds look to be on their way to the semi-final. 2 goals up in the 3rd minute of added time, but West Ham then scored twice. But Leeds coming forward now with Bogle deep into the penalty area, fires it low across the face of goal. It's cleared away, Justin shot, brilliant save, but it's still loose inside the area, and Nonto swings it high over the top, and Leeds should have been ahead there once again. And it was both the wing backs, Bogle and Justin, who missed the opportunities.
Wow, I mean, some big blocks in there for West Ham. No more so than Thomas Souček. First of all, Walker-Peters gets it out. It's then beaten. Areola just in shot. It's going into the back of the net, but who's there? Thomas Souček to block on the line, and then Nonto fires up and over when the ball came back out.
Well, what a start to extra time. 2-2 it remains. And it will be a goal kick which Areola will take. And he clears it high up towards the halfway line, where Ampadu will rise unchallenged and nod it forward again. And Calvert-Lewin will try and fasten on to the knockdown from Bogle, but it's out of play, and it will be a West Ham throw-in. And it's impossible to predict how this game's going to go now.
No, because look, Leeds have got to try and compose themselves. They've got to understand they were the better team for 90 minutes. It was only the 11 minutes of added on time that they were pouring. Before that, they dominated the game. They've got to get back to that composed performance. Again, now in extra time, they've got more options from the bench too. A lot more than West Ham have. But West Ham have just got that momentum and that belief now.
Well, they've still got Piru, Longstaff and Byram to potentially bring on as outfield players. Now Traore for West Ham, fires in the cross, it's flicked away but only as far as Walker-Peters. He fires the low shot and it's gathered comfortably by Lucas Perry. Well, his brain must still be scrambled after what happened in the build-up to the disallowed goal, but he showed safe hands there. And now Justin brings it forward for Leeds on the far side, just in front of the West Ham technical area. Gruev again. And now Nonto. And Leeds, not for the first time this season, have collapsed late in the game, but in the FA Cup they do have a second chance. Justin now brings it forward. Nonto on the overlap. Aronson waits in the area, but Nonto slips onto his backside, but then recovers his footing, almost slips it back in field towards Justin, but it was well seen by Disasi, and he clears high up towards the halfway line.
You know, people almost laughing there as Nonto slipped over. Well, he was up so quickly, still had the ball and twisted away from Walker-Peters. This is a little bit better from Leeds, a bit more possession and just to try and really calm things.
Now an opportunity for Leeds, but the low ball into the near post seeking out Calvert-Lewin was gathered on the edge of the 6-yard area by Areola. The final word with Majestic and Alan Pardew will be coming up at the end of this game, along with the FA Cup semi-final draw. West Ham 2, Leeds 2, and we are 6.5 minutes into the first period of extra time here. Now Walker-Peters for West Ham on this near side, finding Bowen, and now Souček looking for Bowen again, but it's headed away by Justin down the West Ham right. Gnonto scurries infield and finds Calvert-Lewin, and now Ampadu plays it over the top and Gnonto in pursuit, but Areola gets there first and he can calmly find Kilman.
Yeah, he was in a good position, a good starting position there, Areola, almost on the edge of his area, waiting for that ball over the top from Ampadu. If not, Gnonto would have been in.
Well, the Leeds fans find their voices once again. There were some real expressions of shock inside the away end at the end of 90 minutes when Leeds gave it away. Here is Biol. Low ball to find Gruev in the centre circle. Ampadu. And West Ham looking at their bench now. They've got players with very little, if any, first team experience behind them. Players like Ezra Myers, who has featured in the Premier League on 6 occasions this season. Kebala Madrid, Adrias Golombekis and Joshua Ajala. And they may need somebody by the end of this game. 8 minutes into the first period here on TalkSport. 2-2 the scoreline at the London Stadium, as Pablo wins it back for West Ham and goes all the way back to Areola. I would estimate there are around maybe 10,000 empty seats in the stadium from fans who left early and never came back. Now Gruev now striding forward for Leeds, hits it left-footed from the angle and it's beyond the near post and behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, latched onto the ball quickly there, Gruev. Ran away from Walker-Peters. And Disasi didn't quite come across quickly enough, so decided to take the strike early. But it goes angles all wrong. Again, hit the stanchion behind the goal from the near post angle.
It'll be a goal kick which Alphonse Areola will take. 9 minutes played in the first period of extra time here on TalkSport. 2-2 the scoreline, as Pablo plays a good ball to pick out Fernandez. He can burst into the penalty area now, right hand side, pulls it back low, the shot cleared off the line. It was Castellanos again who was denied. Now Fernandez scoops up across into the penalty area and Gruev will eventually clear, but Disasi does well to step in before Calvert-Lewin and play it wide to the left, and Diouf further on now towards Traore. Low ball from him, blocked at the near post, and does it spin behind for a corner? No, it stays in play. Here is Diouf now, back towards Kilman. Kilman, I think, was waiting for Diouf to come back onside along with Traore, so West Ham just have to hold for a second. And here is Diouf again now, and Leeds have been given time to regroup defensively, and Aronson will just step in to concede a throw-in.
Yeah, it was a good save from Perry. Wasn't the power from Castellanos. Needed to firmly side foot that in rather than just trying to clip it over the top of Perry. It hit him in the face in the end, but another chance for Castellanos to get his goal, not taken.
Early evening here now, the sunshine just about disappearing behind the stand on the far side as Traore brings it forward now for West Ham, but he's lost out and it's cleared away long downfield, but Disasi will get there before Calvert-Lewin, and it's back to Areola. I think Calvert-Lewin's touched the ball once and that was scoring the penalty to make it 2-0, but that's often the way of a striker, as a long ball is played forward now, looking for Pablo, but it breaks for Castellanos, and here is Bowen, left foot shot from him, he's hit the post again, but it's turned in, and Pablo is denied by the offside flag.
Well, Bowen can't believe it. I mean, he's hit the post twice, once where Fernandez followed in, this time it comes back to Pablo, who's in an offside position, but what a wonderful strike again from Bowen. powered it towards that near post. Pablo was offside when he finished it, but what a strike from Bowen off the inside of the post.
Well, he's hit the post twice now, Jarrod Bowen. The first time it came back into the path of Fernandez and he scored. This time Pablo found the back of the net, but he was miles offside. And on our monitor, sat behind us, we can see Danny Dyer in the posh seat celebrating what he thought was the winning goal, but then reality bit. 101 minutes played. 2-2 the scoreline, but West Ham coming forward again now. Pablo challenged on the halfway line, but it's Castellanos who plays a good ball into the space, wide for Bowen now. Cutting inside from the right-hand side, Bowen goes for the curler and it's just wide. He claims a deflection, but the flag's up for offside anyway.
Yeah, they've looked such a threat, haven't they, since getting that first goal. Bowen again just trying to cut in and whip it to that far side. Took a little nick off Justin's heel, but he was just offside, Bowen, when that ball was played through by Castellanos.
If it stays like this, we're heading to penalties, and I think Leeds would take penalties at the moment, although of course West Ham went through by that method in the 5th round, and Leeds needed a shootout to beat Birmingham in round 4. Now Beal, he was caught by Pablo, and it will be a free kick for Leeds, wide on the far side, 10 yards inside the West Ham half.
Again though, what it's shown when Pablo is on with Castellanos, and what they gave them when they came into the club, was that real energy out of possession. He won the ball back plenty since coming on. Pablo put himself about, been a real nuisance, been very, very useful without really looking like a goal threat.
But it's a free kick here for Leeds, who have been under the cosh, apart from one opportunity during extra time so far. 90 seconds to play in the first period. 2-2 here on Talk Sport on a dramatic afternoon at the London Stadium. Justin with the free kick, and it was well judged by Areola, who gathers on the edge of his 6-yard area and quickly bowls the ball out to Fernandez. Raking crossfield ball from him to find Walker-Peters down the right. Pablo pulls wide to provide the width. Traore is also in support. And now Souček. And a number of these West Ham players will be slogging through the entire 2 hours plus added time here, because there aren't really any other options, as Bowen is penalised for just clipping Nonto on this near side, and it will be a free kick, and we're into the final 30 seconds of normal time in the first period. Aronson plays it wide now to the far side, but Bogle is challenged well by Juve. He plays the ball infield towards Traore, who's suddenly got room to try and break forward now for West Ham. Maisie dribble from him across the field, away from Ampadu, and Traore continues here. He's got support left and right. He plays it towards Juve, who tries to fire the ball in, and it's wide beyond that near post, and it was a great opportunity.
It's a ridiculous decision from Juve to try and shoot. No way he should be trying that after a brilliant run from Traore once again. Past 3 or 4 players, driving at the Leeds defence. He plays it across to Juve. Just flash that across for your forwards. Why is he thinking of shooting from that angle? It's a poor decision.
Into 2 added minutes at the end of the first period. And those Leeds fans away to our right must feel they should have been back at King's Cross, heading north, planning for a semi-final by now, but as it is, they and their team could be 15 minutes away from a penalty shootout, unless either team can find a winning goal here. Souček all the way back towards Areola. West Ham have looked the more likely since the end of 90 minutes, including the added time at the end of a dramatic normal time. Throw in for Leeds on the halfway line. 03717 +22344 is the number to call Majestic and Alan Pardew at the end of this game, as Nonto claims he was pulled back on the left corner of the West Ham penalty area, and Craig Pawson agrees, and it's a free kick here for Leeds.
Yeah, it's just where a little bit of fatigue will start to set in there. Walker-Peters just the wrong side, couldn't quite get back.
Yellow card for him as well.
Yeah, and then had to pull Nonto, just feeling the back of his hamstrings. Walker-Peters will test a few out there, this.
And of course, West Ham have Wolves coming up on Friday, live on Talk Sport. Leeds are at Old Trafford, and that game comes up the following Monday, so they would have a bit more of a break following this game. But a free kick here, and James Justin is over this, and he could possibly even go for goal with the right foot. West Ham have pulled everybody back. Justin curls it high to the far post, but it's woeful. Overhit straight out of play for a goal kick. And that is the end of the first period of extra time. And it remains 2-2, and we are 15 minutes away from a penalty shootout. Yeah, Amadou Kante is coming on for West Ham, and he will replace Tati Castellanos. And in fact, there's going to be more than one change, I think. Well, certainly Kante, the young Frenchman, is coming on, and Ollie Scholes is also coming on as well for the second period. He's the left back who broke his collarbone in the Premier League game against Leeds in October, and he will replace El Hadj Malik Diouf. So that's a straight swap in the fullback area, and Conte has come on for Castellanos. Now Conte is a player now who will maybe just try and shore up the midfield with Traore, Pablo and Bowen, the forward line. But we wondered when he was going to go to the youngsters, and it's now.
Yeah, I mean, Kante has had a few appearances and I thought did very well in a couple of those. And Scholes is probably one of the most experienced of the bench today, even though he's a very young player. But ultimately, you're asking a lot of the players after an international break to then have to play extra time. Like I said, that fatigue will set in, and I'm sure that's why the changes have been made.
West Ham in the claret shirts, attacking the goal away to our right in the second period. Leeds wearing all blue and coming forward now with James Justin, and Joel Peru has also come on as well to replace Jayden Bogle. So Bornau will go to the fullback area as the ball is clipped high into the penalty area on the far side by Justin, and it's overhit and it's gone behind for a goal kick to West Ham. So Joel Peru, who made his debut for Suriname during the international break in the World Cup playoff against Bolivia, hasn't started a Premier League game since August, but his one goal this season has come in the FA Cup, and he will be playing just behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So Bornau has gone to right back, and both teams and both coaches really looking to assess what they've got left to throw on in this game. Traore. Now Socek. Back again towards Kilman. And when he conceded that penalty, which was scored by Calvert-Lewin, it looked to be all over. If you've just joined us, West Ham 2-0 down in the third minute of added time. We had 11 added minutes, but West Ham then scored twice to take this game to extra time, and had two further goals disallowed correctly in the first period. Now Ampadu, and here is Biol, and Biol under pressure from Pablo, and Biol eventually plays it forward. Pablo left something on him there, and Craig Pawson will eventually come back and give the free kick.
But that's what he gives you. Incredible work rate from Pablo. That's going to be needed in extra time, just to try and relieve a bit of pressure when Leeds have the ball. But again, who's got what left? So difficult to play good football once you're tired, the way these players will be.
Well, Leeds have had the opportunity to get their heads together after what happened at the end of 90 minutes, and also the disallowed goal when Lucas Perry went walkabout and Castellanos scored, but he was offside. But here is Peru working it wide towards the far side, and Justin, and Peru again, quickly on to find Aronson. His attempt to play the cross was blocked by Fernandez, and then Fernandez was fouled by Aronson, and it will be a free kick with 3.5 minutes played in the second period.
A bit like a boxer, I think. It can sometimes take a couple of rounds, can't it, just to really get your faculties back. Leeds, dare I say, do look a little bit more settled. I think those changes have just helped as well. A little bit more freshness to the team.
Long ball played forward by Areola. And here is Traore now, and Traore lobs it forward over the top, looking for the run into the penalty area of Kante, the youngster who has just come on. It's hammered away by Nonto, but it had gone out of play, and West Ham have a throw-in midway inside the Leeds half. Here is Scarles. Plays the 1-2 with Souček. And now Conte, a player who has had very little first-team football behind him this season. Scarles, that's a good ball to find Fernandez. Bowen is the option wide on the right-hand side, and Fernandez has found him. He's got support on the outside, but it's back in field towards the edge of the penalty area. Fernandez, and now Conte, and it's worked wide to Walker-Peters, and now Fernandez has got time to size up the cross high into the penalty area, but it's headed away back through the crowd from Kilman, but never really got hold of it, and it's blocked on the edge of the 6-yard area. And Leeds will regather, and Bornau plays it up to the halfway line, but now Scholes wins it back. Traore infield to Conte, and now Conte will try and charge forward up towards the edge of the penalty area, and the youngster's still going, but in the end he blazes the shot wide, off balance, and as a result off target.
Oh, it's a shame the final part wasn't very good, because the first bit was lovely. Great footwork, really drove at that Leeds defence, got through, just flicked it past Bornau with the outside of his left foot, and then went to strike with his left foot, and as he fell over he really did skew it wide, skimming it off the top of his foot and wide.
Well, he has come off the bench 8 times in the Premier League, Mamadou Kante, so far since arriving from Paris FC. Also started twice in this season's FA Cup. And Dino's got the hood up, and I don't blame him, because it's getting a bit chilly here now as we head towards 7:10 in the evening, as Leeds try and come forward on the far side now with Calvert-Lewin, and in the end it was almost a wrestling match between himself and Matheus Fernandes, but it's West Ham who have the throw-in. I'm not sure if you can remember precisely, but of course 20 years ago in the cup final you were so close. Gerrard scores that goal. So what was it like in extra time for you and West Ham?
It was horrendous for me, having to sit there and watch it and not be part of it, but we felt a bit quite comfortable at times against Liverpool. The problem is they had Steven Gerrard.
Here's Traore coming forward now, another mazy dribble from him, and Biel wins it back with a very well-timed challenge, and West Ham could be caught out on the counter-attack here. Peru, but it's Souček who comes in to win it back, and now Souček wide on the far side, the right, under pressure from Peru, finds Desassi, who scored that equaliser in the 6th minute of added time at the end of 90 minutes. 8 minutes to play in this game. 2-2 on TalkSport in the FA Cup quarter-final. A penalty shootout is looming here, but Bornau could be caught out. Here is Pablo with a great chance inside the area, and it's almost run into his own net by Biel, but Perry just about recovers in time.
Again, a total mix-up from the Leeds defence. But now Biol and Perry, none of them clearly speaking to each other, all going for the same ball, nearly ended up putting it in their own net. Pablo nearly got in as well.
Scarles wide towards Traore, and now Fernandez. 7 minutes to play in the second period of extra time in the final FA Cup quarter-final here on TalkSport. West Ham 2, Leeds 2. And Kilman's got the opportunity to bring it forward now. Scarles wide towards Traore, and Nonto having to make the challenge, and he does well. Goes to ground and times it, and West Ham have a throw-in.
The hardest part about extra time is the fear that gets into the players, the fear of making a mistake that would cost your team after this much football. You'd almost rather not make a mistake and go to penalties than really risk trying to win it almost.
Ball now heads away on the edge of the penalty area. Fernandez and Souček guided it down the centre, and Contes done well to win it back. Tried to thread it through to Bowen. It bounces back to Souček, who nods it wide to this near side. Traore now with an opportunity to deliver a cross in. He hits it low between the legs of Bornau, took a deflection off the inside of his thigh and bobbles through towards Perry. Well, West Ham continuing to dominate in general play, but can Leeds catch them out on the counter-attack here? Aronson coming forward down the left. Here is Ampadu. Peru dropping into a pocket of space on the edge of the area, but Gruev will find Aronson again. He's gone beyond Walker-Peters. The cross swings over the head of Areola, who lost that in flight completely, and it swings behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, it was a strange cross, wasn't it?
He's hurt himself as well, Areola.
I think he's got cramp. I think he was showing signs of that earlier, as Disasi does as well. Many of them will start to feel it. It's a weird cross from Aronson as he crossed it with his left foot, but he almost knuckle-balled it over the top of Areola, who for a second there thought it was going to fall in at the back post. Not really a sign you want, is it, when you could be going to a penalty shootout, your goalkeeper showing signs of cramp?
Well, Finlay Herrick is warming up, the 20-year-old goalkeeper. It'll be some time to come on. 5 minutes before a penalty shootout.
He's almost laughing as he goes down towards Myers over there. I mean, that would be some story, wouldn't it?
Well, his last football was on loan at Boreham Wood in the National League. But Areola is continuing to receive the usual stretches here from Kilman inside the 6-yard area. Of course, no Hermansen, Wan-Bissaka or Mavropanos in the West Ham matchday squad here today. And Callum Wilson and the injured Crescencio Somerville also out injured, and during the breaks in play we have seen Anton Stach on crutches for Leeds, and that's not a good sign.
No, it's not. He was in a boot, but that is always a protective thing straight away. The medical team, but yeah, there's obviously coming into the important period of the Premier League after this. Little injuries now could play a big part in what happens at the bottom of the Premier League, but this isn't looking great, is it, for Areola?
No, they're continuing to do the treatment, and Finlay Herrick is continuing to warm up. He's now been called back to the bench. And is he preparing to come on? He is! Well, what a story this could be.
Well, you can only think that it's more than just cramp for Areola. Maybe there is a calf issue there. I mean, this... what a time to... Incredible.
Well, Finlay Herrick is a jumble of arms and legs at the moment, trying to get his tracksuit bottoms off, his bib off, his gloves on. And they're still trying to work on Areola, but we will get to the point here where Craig Pawson will say, look, we've already spent 3 minutes waiting for you to try to get him ready, but Finlay Herrick has the gloves on now. And you can hear one or two whistles from the Leeds fans.
I mean, there's some of the West Ham staff and the substitutes. I mean, they're all, look at them, they're all laughing behind him, almost like incredible moment this could be for him.
And Finlay Herrick is coming on. He gets a standing ovation from the West Ham fans around the technical area. Where's Phil Parkes when you need him?
That's one for the teenagers.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Well, they're not sure. They're trying everything, aren't they, to make sure Areola can carry on.
Well, Herrick's ready to go. And Areola, thing is, if he can get through the end of the game, do you want a goalkeeper who can't move in a penalty shootout?
Well, no. It's so important to have that spring, isn't it, in a penalty shootout from your goalkeeper. Looks like he's gonna try.
Well, we've got less than 2 minutes of time to play. We're watching a replay here. And did he land awkwardly? Maybe just catch his studs in the turf as he landed.
I don't know. I think it's a cramp issue. I mean, the physios massaged both his calves. He was stretching, I saw as well, towards the end of normal time.
Well, Nuno is...
The referee needs to get them to make a decision here.
It's a difficult one for Craig Pawson. Well, Finlay Herrick, who wears number 49, is now heading out towards the edge of the technical area. What a moment for him. Alphonse Areola unable to continue, and 20-year-old Finlay Herrick is coming on to make his West Ham debut in the closing seconds of an FA Cup quarter-final with a penalty shootout looming.
I mean, there'll be no part of his brain that thought this could possibly happen. What a time to come on. Absolutely incredible. What's his penalty record like? Any good?
I didn't see him play for Boreham Wood, to be honest. He saved his last 3, I'm told, from the studio, which is a good sign for West Ham, but at the moment that's where we're heading, although we're ticking towards the end of extra time now. We saved some penalties in the National League Cup, which is the competition for West Ham's under-21s against non-league teams, and also for England's under-20s as well. And there will be a minimum of 5 more minutes before a penalty shootout. And we've not quite seen everything here today, but pretty close to it. And Leeds must be thinking, look, we've got a virtually untried goalkeeper here at the highest level. Let's test him out. And Peru will maybe try and do that here, but it's through towards Herrick, and he gathers and he gets a great ovation from the West Ham fans, and he just takes his time and waits for Calvert-Lewin to head towards him, so he's clearly been picking up some tips.
Well, look, he's got absolutely every single West Ham supporter right behind him, hasn't he? Wanting him to do well, but he's going to have his chance, you would expect, with only a few minutes left. It goes to penalty to be the hero.
Well, we still have 3.5 minutes of added time to play here. West Ham 2, Leeds 2 in the FA Cup quarter-final. And West Ham, who came from 2 goals down in added time at the end of 90 minutes, have now had to replace their goalkeeper and bring on a 20-year-old who has never played for the first team before. And we are gearing up for another dramatic finish. We've had one already as Conte chases through here for West Ham, and he nearly gets there to poke it beyond Perry, and Perry then has a real mouthful between himself and Biol.
Yeah, it's just that ball over the top again. Ampadu misses it. Biol takes a risk. Luckily, Kante couldn't quite stretch to get hold of it.
Now an opportunity on the far side for Peru. Delivers the cross into the area. It's headed away, but Nonto will gather here for Leeds. Ampadu with a high cross into the penalty area. At the far post, Walker-Peters will clear. Now Ampadu. Ampadu tries to win it back and he's lost out, and Conte can lead the counter-attack forward here towards Traore, and Traore in a foot race with Bornau, and Bornau does well to step in and make the challenge, but West Ham do have a throw-in.
Yeah, difficult, isn't it? Bornau, the fresher since coming on, and Traore feeling the pace of the game, of course, at full pelt there. Couldn't quite get in front of Bornau and took a bit of a whack as well. In the thigh, calf as well, so gets himself up.
Well, Finlay Herrick did win the FA Youth Cup 3 seasons ago with West Ham, and he's been part of the academy since the age of 6, so he certainly is one of their own, and he's on the field here as we head towards the end of extra time. As it's played long and high downfield, looking for Pablo. He brings it down inside the penalty area, but Biol comes across to clear. It's recovered by Souček, but he can't keep the ball in play, and it's a goal kick.
Oh, that's a chance. He knows it, Pablo. Covers his face with his shirt. He knows if he can just take that down with a good touch, chance to shoot. Instead, it was a heavy touch, allowed Biol to get himself back in.
Ezra Myers is now coming on. Adama Traore is going off, and Myers, 19-year-old centre-half, England under-19 international, has started a couple of times in the FA Cup this season, come off the bench 3 times in the Premier League. And West Ham really having to go deep into their resources here to finish this game. 25 seconds of added time to play. 2-2 the scoreline here on TalkSport. The final word coming up at the end of this match. Leeds coming forward now with Gruev, looking to win it. Gruev with a cross in, which is deflected into the path of Disasi. He clears. Pablo flicks on. Now Bowen looking to control, but it's scrambled out of play on the far side by Justin, and West Ham have a throw-in. And that's it. At the end of nerve-shredding, draining 2 hours of play, it is all over, and a penalty shootout will decide if West Ham or Leeds are heading to Wembley and the FA Cup semi-finals. Thank you, Natalie. And Leeds will go first. Joel Peru, who scored in their shootout win against Birmingham in round 4. He went first then and scored, and he will be up against Finlay Herrick on his West Ham United debut. And during that break, Herrick disappeared down the tunnel with a couple of members of West Ham's coaching team, and clearly they were keen to get him out of the arena, maybe get him away from all of the noise, and just try and focus on what he has to do here. 5 penalties each. Leeds going first at the West Ham end of the stadium. It'll be Peru against Herrick, and Peru will hit this left-footed, and Herrick saves! And Finlay Herrick is an instant hero for West Ham. The first thing he's had to do, and he saved the penalty.
Absolutely incredible. Finlay Herrick, take a bow, honestly. The first penalty, he dives the right way, he sees it correctly, he parries it away, and rightly so he celebrates. What a moment for him.
Well, a long way to go, of course. Jarrod Bowen will now step up for West Ham. And Bowen scored the first penalty in the shootout win against Brentford in the previous round. This to put West Ham United 1-0 up in the shootout. Bowen, and it's saved again. A soft penalty, and Lucas Perry able to plunge away to his left and make the save.
Yeah, brilliant, wasn't it, from the Leeds goalkeeper. Really stood still for so long. That does make it difficult for any player. Bowen didn't hit it with the conviction he needed. Soft in the end, well read by Perry to his left-hand side. Big chance missed there for West Ham.
Well, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has already scored a penalty against Alphonse Areola here tonight. Now he's taking one against Finlay Herrick. His previous penalty was low to the goalkeeper's left-hand side. And Calvert-Lewin with his second penalty of the day, and he goes high this time over the dive of Merrick, and Leeds have scored the first penalty of the shootout.
Yeah, calm, wasn't it, from Calvert-Lewin? Instead of going left or right, just went down the middle. Herrick dived out the way. Clever penalty from Calvert-Lewin.
Carl Walker-Peters will take the next penalty for West Ham. And Walker-Peters, should West Ham go through, would be suspended for the semi-final, but he's trying to do his part here to get his team there. West Ham's second penalty, trailing 1-0 in the shootout, up against Lucas Perry, and Walker-Peters sends him the wrong way and levels things up at 1-1 after two penalties each.
Yeah, properly done by Walker-Peters. No messing around, stepping up, firm side foot to the left of Lucas Perry as he dived to his right. Vital to keep West Ham level.
And just like they did against Birmingham in round 4, Leeds are going Peru, Calvert-Lewin and Aronson. And Aronson, the American international, will take the third penalty here for Leeds. 1-1 in the shootout, up against Finlay Herrick, who is bouncing up and down on his goal line. And Aronson calmly puts it into the corner, and he turns to the West Ham supporters and maybe just shushes them, and Leeds lead 2-1. Yeah, although Souček with the opportunity here.
Yeah, I think Aronson just held his gaze long enough at the goalkeeper. Herrick went early, Aronson just firm, side foot, similar to Walker-Peters, to the goalkeeper's left.
Souček, another of the scorers against Brentford in the previous round. We've already seen Jared Bowen miss. Nuno Espirito Santo sits head bowed on the West Ham bench. Souček to level up the shootout here at 2-2. Hits it right footed, and it's right in the corner. Perry went to the left, the ball went to the right, and it's 2-2 after 3 rounds of penalties, and Wilfred Gnonto will be next.
Yeah, I think even if Perry goes the right way, he doesn't save that. Just inside the left-hand post from Thomas Souček with power as well. Perry went the wrong way, so it didn't matter, but still an excellent penalty.
The fourth penalties now, and this is where it gets a bit twitchy. Wilfred Gnonto, another young player, but with considerably more miles on the clock than Finlay Herrick. He will take the penalty now for Leeds, and Herrick maybe just got a hand to that, but it was high over his head, and Leeds are 3-2 up.
Well, he was close to that, wasn't he, Herrick? But it was such a good penalty from Gnonto. Up and high into the top corner, left top corner. Outstanding. Herrick guessed the right way, got his left hand up high, couldn't quite get it. Super penalty, Willie Gnonto.
Well, Pablo has not scored for West Ham yet, but he's taking a penalty now, and if he doesn't score, Leeds would have the opportunity to win it with their next penalty. Pablo with a very short run up here against Lucas Perry, and Perry is saved. Another penalty far too close to the goalkeeper, and Leeds are on the brink of the semi-final once again.
Yeah, just didn't approach the ball confidently, did he, Pablo? No proper run-up, really. Just smashes it to the goalkeeper's right, but he guessed correctly, got his body behind it, and gives Leeds a brilliant chance to get to Wembley.
Well, this is it. If Pascal Struijk scores this penalty, Leeds are on their way to Wembley in the FA Cup semi-final. Can Finlay Herrick keep West Ham United alive here in this shootout and in this season's FA Cup? Pascal Struijk tries to compose himself, and Struijk hits it, and it's in off the post, and Leeds United have done it. They're into their first FA Cup semi-final since 1987. Their players stream onto the field to celebrate. Their 9,000 fans, who must have thought they'd blown it at the end of 90 minutes, can now finally breathe more easily and start planning for a big trip to Wembley at the end of April. West Ham United and their young goalkeeper Finlay Herrick exit the FA Cup in the cruelest fashion, a penalty shootout in the quarter-finals, but Leeds United go marching on all the way to the semi-finals and Wembley Stadium.